Hello. Hello, bestie, and welcome back to Arrow Season 4, the greatest season of Arrowverse history, with the highest rated episodes and everyone's favorite shenanigans. I'm kidding, this is actually the worst season of Arrow.
You know how hard it is to play a superhero with no superpowers? With 23 episodes a year? You know how hard it is? It's really hard. Might have to cut this out of the podcast.
If you haven't seen my previous videos and you're jumping in right here at Season 4, I will be giving a brief recap of everything you need to know before we get into this. This is a very easy show to understand, very easy show to get into, so don't feel obligated to go back and watch all of the old videos because you'll get it. If you've been here before, then you probably know what I'm about to say. There are timestamps in the description. You can skip this intro, you can skip the murder board explanation, you can skip to any episode you want. I stamped the time for you. Murder board, it's time to talk about it. You are looking at a future state of the board. This is the board after episode 13. If you look too close, you might see a spoiler. That's on you. Things haven't really changed that much in the murder board department. The color codes are still relatively the same. The string represents the connections between the characters. Yellow is family, blue is friends or coworkers, pink is romance, red is enemies, and green means they're part of Team Arrow or they're part of Team Villain. The borders behind the character photos represent my personal opinions on these characters. I think the blue characters are cool, the green characters I'm neutral on, the orange characters are my favorites, the red characters are my least favorites, and the pink characters are girl bosses. A girl boss, by my definition, is a character who drives the plot forward and never lets the plot drive them. They also have a certain girl boss aura to them. This is not that serious, so if we disagree on opinions here, that's fine. And lastly, there are little symbols that get added to the characters' pictures throughout this video. A green triangle means they know the identity of the green arrow. An orange lightning bolt means they know the identity of the Flash. A brown L signifies that they are a member or a former member of the League of Assassins. A blue A signifies that they're an agent of Argus. A purple M means they are a metahuman. A purple star shows that they are a magic user. Gray H shows that they are a member of Hive or that they are associated with Hive. And a red RIP means that they are most likely dead. The board is split into 3 sections. First, this big section right here. This is for the meat and potatoes of our story. It's in the present day in Starling Drop the Ling City. This skinny sliver behind me, that's the island of Lian-Yu. Everything that happens on the island of Lian-Yu happened 5 years ago, and we see flashbacks to the island periodically throughout the show. In the bottom, this is the Slay Station. It has grown since the last time you've seen it. I had to extend it a little bit because there's a lot of people slaying in the station. This is for the characters who slay or have been slain. At the end of the video, I will give out a special award to the character that I deem the most girl boss, and also the character that was my favorite for the season. At the end of every episode, I will zoom in on the board so that you can see up close and personal everything I added. For this video, I'm doing something different. I will be talking about the ratings. I usually don't do that. I'm just here to recap, but this season is so notoriously bad that I think I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't mention the IMDb ratings. I got all of these ratings as of April 2025. In the first 3 seasons, they never really had ratings lower than like a 7.6 out of 10. But season 4 is a different story. The lowest rated episode of Arrow is in this season. Here's a quick recap of Arrow seasons 1 to 3 so that we're all on the same page. Arrow centers around Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow, a billionaire playboy from Starling, Drop the Ling City. Oliver Queen was marooned on the island of Lian Yu, its Mandarin for purgatory, for 5 years. And each season, we get a new year of the 5-year Lian Yu flashback. Nothing that happened on the island in seasons 1 through 3 is relevant at all, so don't worry about it. As for the present day storyline, which takes up the bulk of our interest. In season 1, Oliver recruited the OG Team Arrow, John Diggle, Army Girl Boss, and Felicity Smoke, Computer Girl Boss. Together with Oliver Queen, Archery Girl Boss, they complete the trifecta of original girl bosses. OGs, if you will. Felicity Smoke, she's very iconic. She is Oliver's main love interest, and at the end of season 3, their relationship is in a really great place, actually. They're doing quite well, and nothing could tear them down. They drove off into the sunset to start a life of domestic bliss together. Felicity's ex-boyfriend, Ray Palmer, famously exploded at the end of season 3 at the top floor of the Palmer Tech building, and he left Palmer Tech to Felicity, so she is the CEO of Palmer Tech now. Diggle is married to Lila Michaels. Lila used to work for Argus, but she doesn't work for them anymore. She quit because Amanda Waller's kind of a freak. Diggle and Lila have a baby girl. Her name is Sarah, and yes, she is still a girl. Thank you for asking. I don't know why you are so obsessed with this baby's gender. John Diggle has a dead brother named Andy. Andy was killed by dead hot deadshot Floyd Lawton because Floyd Lawton was hired by an organization called Hive. As the show went on, the ranks of Team Arrow grew to include many more notable side characters. Firstly, Roy Harper. Roy Harper goes by Arsenal. He's like the Robin to Oliver's Batman. And he was also dating Oliver's sister Thea. At the end of season 3, Roy Harper went out on air and told the whole world that he was the Arrow. And then he faked his death and fled the city. So now everyone thinks that the new Arrow that's still out here is a different guy. Thea Queen, Oliver's sister. Well, half-sister. Because Thea's real dad is Malcolm Merlyn, aka the Dark Archer, aka Oliver's #1 nemesis. Right, yeah, that Malcolm Merlyn. He taught her how to be a warrior, whatnot. And then he drugged Thea into killing Sarah Lance so that he could use that leverage to gaslight Oliver into killing Ra's al Ghul so that Malcolm could become the new Ra's al Ghul, head of the League of Assassins. So, Malcolm Merlyn is of course now the new Ra's al Ghul. He's chilling out in Nanda Parbat. Ra's al Ghul has access to the Lazarus Pit. The Lazarus Pit is like a jacuzzi of immortality, you know? He who sits in the waters of the Lazarus Pit shall gain immortality. Before the old Ra's died, he attacked Thea, and the only way to save Thea was to throw her into the Lazarus Pit, and it rejuvenated her. The old Ra's al Ghul also mentioned that he has an adversary called Damien Darhk. There is an H in Dark somewhere. Damien Darhk, with an H, has a hive of supporters. Malcolm al Ghul, he's not well liked by Nyssa, the daughter of the old Ra's al Ghul, because Sarah Lance was famously Nyssa's beloved. Okay, they were lesbian lovers. Sarah Lance, rest her soul, has been dead twice now. She, like every female character in the show, has had a messy relationship with Oliver Queen. Like, they've dated. Before Sarah Lance died, she was a girl boss crime fighter. She called herself the Canary. Laurel has kind of picked up the mantle of the Black Canary, and she's kind of carrying on Sarah's legacy. Speaking of Laurel Lance, Lawyer Supreme. Season 3 was just basically Laurel's lying hour. That's all she did in season 3. To the point where she basically destroyed her relationship with her father, Quentin Lance. Quentin Lance is now the police captain. Laurel also has a sonic device that was made by Cisco Ramon from The Flash, and it gives her the power to, like, do a canary cry, you know? Like the Black Canary? So remember how I said Oliver Queen was a billionaire? I lied. Felicity's the billionaire. Oliver has no fucking money. The history of Queen Consolidated / Palmer Tech is very rocky. First it was Queen Consolidated, it was Oliver's family company. After his mother tragically died, he inherited the company, became the CEO, but then he got manipulated into like signing away the company, and then Ray Palmer came to town in season 3, and he bought Queen Consolidated and renamed it to Palmer Tech. Now Ray Palmer was a very ambitious guy. He wanted to rename Starling City to Star City, hence the drop the ling. Ray Palmer famously built the Atom suit, which is basically an Iron Man suit, yes. That is all you need to know. Now, without further ado, let's jump in to Season 4 of Arrow. Episode 1, Green Arrow. Oliver and Felicity, they're in Ivy Town. They have settled into a life of domestic bliss. Things are great for the two of them. Their relationship is blossoming, flourishing. They both love each other. Oh my god, life is great and wonderful for Olicity. Oliver loves living in Ivy Town. He loves to be a domestic little man, and he's good at cooking. Oliver had one of his tattoos removed, the one that was Shadow's tattoo, if y'all remember that. So now his island trauma is behind him. He doesn't need reminders of that anymore because this is a new page in the book of Oliver Queen. Felicity, on the other hand, she loves Oliver, don't get me wrong, but she kind of misses the vigilante life. She kind of views working at Palmer Tech and being the CEO of Palmer Tech as more of a chore than something that she actually enjoys doing. And she's been working remotely as the CEO, attending all these fun little Zoom meetings and whatnot. Meanwhile, in Starling Drop the Ling City, Diggle, Laurel, and Thea are fighting the good fight. They are still out here vigilanteing it up. Thea is called Speedy. That's her nickname. She doesn't like Speedy, but she doesn't have a choice. Diggle doesn't have a full code name yet, but he does have a new uniform. He's got a mask, he has identity concealment. Okay, so he's just not running around out here like looking like an idiot anymore. He's got a full superhero suit. And Laurel is of course the Black Canary. She's still repping the classic Black Canary black leather. Love that. They're after some bad guys. They do not catch the bad guys. Title screen. The group reconvenes in the Arrow Cave. The Arrow Cave is kind of gross. It's giving season 1 Arrow Cave where it's just like 2 computers and like a dream. Laurel is like, guys, I think that we need to call in the big guns. I think we need Oliver to come help us with this. And Thea agrees with Laurel, but Diggle does not want Oliver back. Remember, Oliver kidnapped his wife? So he's still not over that. Lance is the police captain. He's at a meeting with all of the other major city politicians. They are discussing how fucked they are. Starling Drop the Ling City is not doing too well in the political department. The mayor was killed and nobody wants to run for mayor. Was the DA also killed? Not yet, but the DA will be killed shortly because enter Damien Darhk. This dude enters the room with all these politicians and he's like, hey guys, it's me, your friendly neighborhood bad guy. I would love it if you didn't elect a mayor and just let the city die. I need Starling Drop the Ling City to die. If you bitches try to fix the city, I will kill all of you, okay? And they're like, hey, what the piss, dude? You can't come in here and threaten us. And he's like, I think I can, actually. Oliver and Felicity, they're having dinner with their neighbors, and Oliver intends to propose to Felicity by hiding the ring in the souffle. Despite Oliver living a life of domestic bliss, it wasn't always like that. Remember Leanne Yu, 5 years ago? It's Mandarin for Purgatory. It's time to find out what was going on. So, Oliver had just finished dealing with the Hong Kong bullshit from season 3, and now he is running around, I think maybe still Hong Kong, and he runs into Amanda Waller again, and she's like, hey bestie, let's chat, let's get a drink. Damien Darhk was not playing around, alright? The ghosts, that is the bad guys, alright? The bad guys are called the ghosts. The ghosts work for Damien Darhk. He sends the ghosts in to kill all of the city leadership. Every single one of them MFers dies except for Captain Lance. Oliver is about to bring out the fucking souffle when knock, 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 it's Laurel and Thea. They're like, hey, besties, we have a ghosty problem going on in Starling Drop the Ling City. Can you please come back? And Felicity is all for it. She's like, yes, babe, let's go back to Starling Drop the Ling City. I'm gonna stop saying that eventually, but... And Oliver's like, Felicity! I'm finally at a place in my life where I feel like a normal fucking human being. I don't want to be the Arrow. I want to just be a guy. I just want to live in Ivy Town with you forever. But they do agree to go back to Starling Drop the Ling City. Amanda Waller, 5 years ago, she drugs and kidnaps Oliver. Oliver and Felicity arrive back in Starling Drop the Ling City, and we as the audience are now fully clued in on why they're calling Starling City Star City. They renamed it in honor of Ray Palmer, who famously died in a tragic explosion at Palmer Tech. So they renamed the city Star City because that's what he wanted to do when he was alive. Oliver wonders if being a vigilante really accomplished anything, because he comes back to the city, there's these fucking ghosts now, it's still just as shitty as it was when he wasn't fighting crime than it was when he was fighting crime. That was a clunky sentence, but you get the point. Diggle is mad because Thea and Laurel brought Oliver motherfucking Queen back into his life, back into his vigilante business without his consent, but he's gonna have to get over it. Oliver figures out pretty quickly that Felicity had never truly abandoned the vigilante life. This whole time when they were eating bonbons in Ivytown, she was secretly helping the team doing some hacking shit on the side, okay? Because she loves the hacking life too much. Oliver's not mad that she was doing this, but she still does apologize for not being entirely honest with him, because one thing about Felicity Smoke, that bitch hates a secret. Laurel and Quentin Lance are on speaking terms again. Their relationship is a little bit rocky, but Laurel is making an effort to not lie anymore. That's really hard for her, but she's trying. Lance tells her to stay out of the ghost business, okay? This is dangerous even for the vigilantes. The voice of fucking reason, Lila Michaels, tries to convince John Diggle that, hey, maybe we should stop holding this grudge against Oliver, okay? I have forgiven him for kidnapping me. It's your turn, okay? And Diggle is like, no, okay? He betrayed me to the highest degree you could possibly betray a man, so I am not about to forgive him. The team goes to confront the ghosts, and they're kind of like hiding in the shadows, and they witness Damien Darhk murder somebody with voodoo magic. Bro, like, yeah, and then he's dead. And he didn't even touch him. And that shit's crazy. They also learn that the ghosts are planning to attack the new train station that has just been built. They want Star City to die, and if they have this new train station that can get people in and out of the city, that's not good. You know, that doesn't promote death. Oliver is like, guys, I don't think Damien Darhk is a metahuman. This is some freaky shit. This is magic. And I have, seen things like this before. Now, Oliver thinks that there's something a little sus about Thea right now. She beat a man within an inch of his life. And Oliver's like, hey, Thea, what's your fucking problem? And she's like, problem? I don't have a problem. My life is so under control right now. 5 years ago, Oliver Queen wakes up in a plane. Okay, he's dazed and confused. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Some Argus guy is like, hey, Oliver, you're gonna jump out of this fucking plane in a minute with this pack of supplies, a communicator, so that you can talk back to Argus. And your mission, you have no choice but to accept it, is to infiltrate this evildoers camp, befriend them, and stop their operation. And then Oliver jumps out of a plane and he lands back down on the island of Lian Yu. It's Mandarin for purgatory. The ghosts are about to attack this train, so the team suits up. Oliver ends up alone on the train fighting the ghosts, and then Damien Darhk shows up on the train to confront Oliver face to face. This is when Oliver first learns who he is. He says, hi, I'm Damien Darhk, I'm here to kill you. He blasts Oliver with some of his freaky voodoo magic, and it appears, it's like it's giving Dementor from Harry Potter. It's like the soul is being sucked out of him is what it looks like. But lucky for Oliver, Diggle shows up at just the right time. They don't save the train, they blow up the train before it blows everyone up. It's kind of stupid, but whatever. Oliver tells the team that Damien Darhk is back, and he's like, guys, Ra's al Ghul told me that Damien Darhk has a hive of operatives. And Diggle hears the word hive, and he's like, hive, you say? What's this about a hive? But he does not fill in the rest of the team on what that word actually means to him and how it may or may not be connected to his dead brother Andy. Oliver Queen suits up in his new Green Arrow suit, and he makes a broadcast to the entire city. And he says he is the Green Arrow, and he will never abandon the city, and he's gonna fight for his people. And everyone claps. When Oliver lands on Lian Yu, he immediately gets attacked by a soldier. Damien Darhk has this creepy ancient statue. It's called an idol, and this is the source of his power, so he kind of, like, goes near it and, like, whispers some ancient words to it and then absorbs some power, I guess. And then, who shows up but Quentin Lance? And he's like, hey, when I joined you bitches, I didn't sign up for none of this murdering elected official shit. Damien Darhk is like, yeah, well, I don't care if you're down. Remember what I said I would take away from you if you don't listen to me. Felicity and Oliver move into the Queen Loft because Thea is not living there anymore. Thea is kind of living with Laurel, so Oliver and Felicity now live in Thea's old house, the Queen Loft. 6 months later, we get a flash forward to a graveyard. Oliver Queen is looking at a grave. We don't know whose grave it is, but he is very upset. And he says to Barry Allen, who, speeds by, he's like, I'm gonna kill him. End screen. So, the stats for this episode. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 72. The character with the most quips was Felicity. She had 9. And the character that I laughed at the most was Oliver. I laughed at him 9 times. The ghosts killed 7 people this episode, and Damien Darhk killed 1 person. If you're curious to get the full stats for every character in the episode, check the link in the description to the Google document for the full charts. Episode 2. The Candidate. This has a rating of 7.8 on IMDb. Team Arrow now consists of Black Canary, Laurel, Green Arrow, Oliver, Speedy, Thea, Felicity, and Diggle. They don't have code names quite yet. They're going after some kind of bomb. Title screen. Thea is having rage issues. She is beating people up a little bit too much, and Oliver confronts her again. And she tells him that she has everything under control. Like, seriously, leave her alone. Felicity is preparing to go back to Palmer Tech and gaslight gatekeep girl boss it up as the CEO in person. On Lian, Oliver kills the soldier who attacked him, and then he stashes his Argus pack, which contains a communication device, as well as some other things that, you really wouldn't want people to find if you were spying. One of Moira Queen's old friends, Jessica Danforth, and her daughter show up to reconnect with Oliver and Thea. Jessica tells Oliver that she wants to run for mayor. At Palmer Tech, some absolute nerd called Mr. Holt strolls in, and he's got this new algorithm. Mr. Holt. That'd be this dude. The company intends to use Curtis Holt's algorithm for workforce reduction. And Felicity's not happy about this. She's like, you mean I have to come back here from my little vacation in Ivytown and start firing people immediately? That's not so slay. The board members don't care what she thinks, okay? It's been decided. Jessica Danforth announces to the city that she is planning on running for mayor. She gets shot up, okay? There are gunmen that show up to this thing. Luckily, everyone survives. Miss Danforth is fine. Now, this does not convince Miss Danforth here to not run for mayor. She is still like, I'm doing this. And so Oliver approaches Quentin Lance, and he's like, hey, can I help you protect her? But Lance is like, no, Oliver, you can go fuck yourself, actually, because this city doesn't need you and your fucking hood fighting crime in the shadows, okay? This city needs someone like Jessica Danforth who's willing to stand up in the light. Big words coming from Damien Darhk's little lapdog, but alright, buddy. On Lian, Oliver discovers that these soldiers are working on a plantation. Yeah, plantation with slaves and everything. Whoa, bitch! Before Oliver rolls up to this plantation, he takes the corpse of the soldier who attacked him and throws it on a landmine, causing a big explosion, because that's what landmines do when you hit them. So Felicity is not happy about firing people, like we said, and Curtis Holt approaches her, and he explains that he didn't make the algorithm with the intent to lay a bunch of people off. He made it with the intent to, get the people who deserve raises. Curtis Holt is for the working man. He's this happy-go-lucky, nerdy little, smart little genius dude. And I say little, I don't mean little. He's very tall. He's a big, tall guy. Diggle confides in Laurel about Hive, okay? He's like, listen, don't tell Oliver this yet, because I don't trust that motherfucker. But, Damien Darhk having a hive of operatives cannot be a coincidence, because my brother Andy Diggle was killed by Hive. Floyd Lawton, Dead Hot Dead Shot, was hired by Hive to kill my brother. That's not a coincidence. I think Damien Darhk is behind Hive. The guy who shot up Danforth's speech is this guy, Lonnie Machin, and he is an evil mercenary who was hired by Damien Darhk. And he is giving Lonnie one more chance to kill Jessica Danforth before he kills Lonnie Machin. Oliver yells at Thea again because every time they go to confront the ghost, this bitch is going off the rails. Oliver's finally like, hey, I think this might have to do with the Lazarus Pit. Oliver explains that Malcolm Merlin, Thea's evil dad, he's up here. Malcolm reveal, Thea's evil dad explained to Oliver that throwing Thea in the pit would be a terrible, terrible mistake and it might have some awful side effects, but he did it anyway to save her life. And now Thea is mad because no one told her about the goddamn side effects. Hey, that's valid. She's valid to be mad about that. On Lian, the soldiers find Oliver. They're like, who the piss are you? We've never seen you before in our lives. We're taking you to the big man. Felicity has to fire Curtis. Curtis, you're fired. Oliver once again tries to convince Jessica Danforth not to run for mayor because he's afraid that something bad will happen to her or her daughter. Something bad has just in fact happened to Jessica Danforth's daughter. She has been kidnapped by Lonnie Machin. On the island, the boss man. His name is Baron Reiter. He's like, hey, Oliver, I don't know who you are, I don't know how you got here, but I would like for you to work for me. On my plantation. Time to whip those slaves into shape. Damien Darhk is even more mad at Lonnie Machin now because the assignment was to kill Jessica Danforth. This motherfucker instead kidnapped her daughter? Okay, Hive, they may be evil, but they don't kidnap people's daughters, okay? Damien Darhk has standards, alright? Thea is kind of going through a little bit of a crisis about this new Lazarus Pit information, and she confides in Laurel. Everyone loves to confide in Laurel in this episode. She's like, hey, they threw me in the Lazarus Pit, and now I might have some crazy murderous side effects. And Laurel's like, Lazarus Pit? They put you in the pit, and then you were healthy again? Gee golly, I wonder what else we could throw in the pit. Lonnie Machin rolls up to the girl he kidnapped and starts, like, torturing her. Like, he's about to, like, rip off her fingers or some shit. The team shows up and stops it. Diggle and Laurel get Jessica Danforth's daughter to safety, and Oliver and Thea have a fight with Lonnie Machin. During this fight, Thea goes a little bit too cray-cray, and she ends up setting Lonnie Machin on fire. Oliver is able to extinguish Lonnie Machin before he fucking dies, but, I think the damage has already been done, sir. Might as well have just let him cook a little longer. Jessica Danforth is reunited with her daughter, and she's like, you know what, Oliver, you were right all along. I am not running for mayor anymore. This is some serious fucking business. On Lian greasy Oliver Queen has just got a clean military shave, okay? He's rocking that. At Palmer Tech, Felicity rehires everyone who was fired. Okay, Curtis, you're actually not fired. April Fools! Look how happy he looks. The board members are like, hey, Felicity, why? Why did you think this hiring everyone was a good idea? We're in the red, okay? We fired people because we're in the fucking red. And Felicity's like, yes, but we won't be for long because Curtis and I have a great fucking idea that's going to get us so much money, okay? We have a life-changing, revolutionary, money-making idea. The board buys this, despite her not showing them what the idea is, and then Curtis is like, What's the idea, Felicity? And she's like, I don't know, I was kind of hoping you had one. Thea has a chat with Laurel, and Laurel is like, we need a spa weekend, okay? We need to get away, the two of us, because there's a lot of stress happening right now, and we should go to the spa. And Thea's like, hey, that's so sick, let's go. But are they actually going to the spa? Of course not. They're going to Nanda Parbat to have a chat with Malcolm Al-Ghul, because Laurel got an idea. Lonnie Machin is en route to the hospital, and while he's in the ambulance, he kills 2 people and then jumps out of the back of the ambulance and makes a getaway. Oliver proudly proclaims that he is going to run for mayor. Thea and Laurel go to the graveyard and they dig up Sarah's grave. Girl is all bones at this point. Like, it's fucking disturbing. If you haven't put the pieces together, Laurel wants to throw Sarah in the fucking Lazarus Pit. End screen. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 52. The character with the most quips was Felicity. She had 7. And the character I laughed at was also Felicity. I laughed at her 3 times. The character with the most kill was Lonnie Machin. He killed 5 people on screen, but it was probably more than that. Episode 3. Restoration. This episode has a 7.9 rating on IMDb. Oliver, Diggle, and Felicity, they can't catch these ghosts, okay? The ghosts are still ghosting them. Every one of the ghosts has a cyanide pill inside of, like, a fake tooth in their mouth, so anytime that any one of the team members is able to capture a ghost, they usually just unalive themselves. I never say the word unalive. What the piss is wrong with me? At Nanda Parbat, we see a little scene of Malcolm and Nyssa sparring, only Nissa's not fucking sparring, okay? She wants to kill his ass. Nyssa Al-Ghul, well, is she still Nyssa Al-Ghul? If, Al-Ghul isn't Al-Ghul anymore? Is she just Nyssa now? Thea and Laurel show up during this little fight between Nyssa and Malcolm, and they're like, hey! Surprise! Girls trip, and we brought a 3rd girl, it's Sarah. We're putting her in the pit, and you're gonna let us.
I invoke Lazarus Pit. We invoke Lazarus Pit.
And Malcolm says, No.
I don't think that's how it works.
Never in all the hundreds of thousands of years that the Lazarus Pit has existed, no one has ever thrown a dead bitch in the pit. They don't know what would happen if that happened. You know, it's a mystery, and Malcolm Merlyn doesn't want to deal with the mystery right now. Laurel is like, well, you fucking killed her, so you have an obligation to unkill her. Felicity tries to convince Diggle to go out for margaritas with her and Oliver, but Diggle still does not want to deal with Oliver. They're still not friends. On the island of Leanne Hewitt's Mandarin for Purgatory, Oliver has his first encounter with this female slave. Tiana is her name. They don't call them slaves in the show, they call them prisoners, but I need you to know that these are slaves on a plantation on Leanne Hewitt's Mandarin for Purgatory. Diggle gets some intel about the person who hired Floyd Lawton to kill Andy. This woman's name is Mina Fayyad, and she is coming to Starling City, so Diggle now has a window of opportunity where he can find her and get some answers from this bitch. Damien Darhk meets with Mina Fayyad, and she did not come alone. She brought a friend, and he is a metahuman called Double Down. He can materialize playing cards from his tattoos and throw them at people like throwing stars. Damien agrees to hire Double Down to go after the Green Arrow and his friends, because Damien Darhk and the rest of Hive wants to kill the Green Arrow and get him out because he's causing them issues. Title screen, Laurel thought for sure that Nyssa would want to throw Sarah into the Lazarus Pit, but Nyssa is also against it. She's like, listen, you throw Sarah into the pit, we don't know what'll happen. If she does come back out, she's not going to be normal. Oliver wants to go out and fight some ghosts, but Diggle is not answering his phone because Diggle is out on his own side mission to, question Mina Fayyad. So Oliver has to go fight these dudes alone. On the island, we get a little bit of lore on the plantation. The crop they are harvesting is called Slam. Okay, it's a drug called Slam. Apparently, it's like every drug in one. That's literally what they say in the show. Like, Conklin is the main soldier that Oliver interacts with. He does not like Oliver. He is insanely suspicious of Oliver. But Conklin is like, yeah, Slam is like every drug in one. It's like a mix of all of them. What the fuck? What does that mean? What does that taste like? I mean, I kind of want to know. Does anyone know? Some of the slaves have been stealing the Slam, okay, and that's not cool. So Conklin rounds up all of the slaves, and he starts executing them until Spartacus speaks up. Cardman called in a fake robbery to draw out the Green Arrow, and it was a trap, and Oliver barely escapes with his life. And he's also got one of Double Down's playing cards. Diggle is also not having much luck on his secret solo mission. He gets made very early on, and he has to run away, and he does not get any information out of Mina Fayyad. Back at Nanda Parbat, Thea's having a chat with dear old dad. Malcolm explains that what Thea is dealing with is an incurable bloodlust. The pit is compelling her to want to kill. It's not a want, it's a need. Thea needs to kill people to satisfy the Lazarus Pit, the pit fever that's inside of her. He tells her that the only way to deal with this bloodlust is to give into it and just start killing people. And Thea is like, thanks, Dad, for the normal fucking advice. I'm so glad I had this conversation with you. You always know just what to fucking say. And then Malcolm is like, fine, maybe there is another way, okay? We'll go after the MacGuffin tomorrow morning. Felicity takes the playing card that Oliver got from his fight. She takes it to Palmer Tech and gives it to Curtis. And she's like, hey, Curtis, can you run this? Run some forensics and diagnostics or whatever the piss you want to run. Do some tests on this playing card. I would love to know what it's made of and if we can figure out where it came from and go there. Diggle and Oliver are now forced into proximity to deal with their issues, okay, because Felicity is kind of sick and tired of these two little boys not communicating with each other. Diggle is like, Oliver, you crossed a line when you kidnapped my wife, and Oliver is like, Diggle, I will do whatever it takes to regain your trust, okay, because we're bros. We have to be bros. For the narrative to continue, you have to be my bro. Oliver mentions that Double Down mentioned Mina Fayyad during their fight for some fucking reason, and Diggle's like, wait a minute, Double Down is connected to Mina Fayyad, which is connected to fucking Hive, which is connected to my dead brother Andy. Meanwhile, Damien Darhk is killing Mina Fayyad. He's like, hey, Double Down, if you don't kill all them damn vigilantes right now, you're next. Thea, next day, she wakes up at the League of Assassins, and she gets attacked by 2 men. She kills both of them to defend herself, and then once they're both dead, dear old dad walks in the room, and he's like, how you feeling? You feel better? Did the antidepressants work? Thea is mad. She's like, you did not just fucking have your guys come in here for me to kill them. Are you serious? There was no MacGuffin. You lied. You lied. And he's like, yes, I did lie. I lie a lot. He explains to Thea that she will never be whole again unless she's able to kill the person who, attacked her. But since the old Roz is the one who attacked Thea, he's already fucking dead. So Thea will never be able to kill him and then, regain her whole self, so she's gonna have to deal with this bloodlust for the rest of her life, and she's gonna have to kill people whether she likes it or not. Malcolm says there is nothing he won't do for his daughter. Okay, remember that. On Lian Yu, Oliver is taking a turn at torturing the slaves until the woman, Tiana, confesses that she stole the slam, and she was giving it to some of the other prisoners. Oliver convinces Conklin that he's just gonna take Tiana out back and kill her out back away from all the other slaves, to make it less of a mess. Back at Nanda Parbat, in a last-ditch effort to get Thea to forgive him, Malcolm relents and allows Laurel to throw Sarah Lance into the Lazarus Pit. Oliver and Diggle find Mina Fayyad already dead. Double Down attacks Felicity and Curtis at Palmer Tech, and she is forced to bring Curtis down into the Arrow Cave because the Arrow Cave is still underneath Palmer Tech. She has to explain to Curtis that she works with the Green Arrow. And then they get into a shootout with Double Down. He gets away, but both of the nerds live to see another day. Sarah gets thrown into the pit, and she comes out all fucked up. She jumps out like a spider monkey. Oliver and Diggle confront Double Down again. Oliver jumps in front of Diggle to save him from one of Double Down's evil playing cards, and then Diggle forgives him, and now they're bros again. On the island, Oliver leads another soldier onto a landmine in order to cause a diversion so that he can take Tiana to safety. Curtis is very happy that he got to help the vigilantes. Curtis is a vigilante supporter, and Felicity's phone starts glitching out. There's weird messages popping up on her phone. They have Sarah tied up because she is missing a couple of screws, and all she seems to want to do is kill people. Laurel is optimistic that they'll find a cure for Sarah, and then there's a commotion in the Lazarus Pit room, so everyone runs in there, and Nyssa has just destroyed the Lazarus Pit. It is unusable. No one else is getting Deus Ex Machina'd by the Lazarus Pit ever again. Malcolm is obviously not happy about that because that was his mystical magical jacuzzi of immortality that she just fucked with, so now he's gonna die a mortal man. End screen. The stats for this episode. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Felicity, she had 39. The character with the most quips was also Felicity, she had 8, and Felicity was the one I laughed at the most with 4 laughs, but she tied with Thea and Malcolm, who also had 4 laughs each. The person with the most kills was Thea, she killed 2 people. Changing the setup here a little bit for episode 4. Alright, change is good. Change is good. Episode 4, Beyond Redemption. This episode has an 8.0 rating on IMDb. This episode, our heroes are going after some crooked cops, and it takes them a while to realize that they're crooked cops that they're after. They're out here, and they're trying to sell drugs. Title screen. Oliver gathers up all of his most closest trusted friends, and he takes them to Sebastian Blood's old campaign office. Oliver is now using Sebastian Blood's old campaign office for his new campaign, because he's running for mayor and he's just told all his friends about it. They are not, real excited about Oliver running for mayor, but then Oliver's like, and also, underneath here is the new and improved Arrow Cave. Brand new Arrow Cave. Upgraded. This new Arrow Cave is lit. I think that this season 4 Arrow Cave is really cool. It's one of my favorite Arrow Caves. Not that I have a ranking or anything. It's very modern, it's very sleek, it's got display cases for all of their uniforms, and they have the newest, coolest computers ever, so Felicity is going to be able to hack at lightning speed now. Laurel and Thea have agreed that they're gonna keep Sarah's reincarnation a secret from Oliver, because neither of them really want to deal with Oliver's judgment. Okay, because Oliver, that guy is a judgy little bitch. Oliver goes to SCPD and he's like, hello, Captain Lance, I am running for mayor. Will you endorse me? And Lance laughs in his fucking face. Lance does give Oliver some vigilante intel because the police department is spread really thin. They don't have enough manpower to go after these cop killers because the crooked cops killed some cops during their drug thing. On the island, Oliver and Tiana are in a secret cave. He is like, hey, here's all the shit you need to survive. I'll come back periodically with food. You just chill in this cave and don't let anyone see you. Felicity's phone has been sending her weird messages. It's been glitching out, and she and Curtis come to the conclusion that it's somehow connected to Ray Palmer's Atom suit, because the weird messages only really start happening when she's in proximity of the last remaining piece of Ray Palmer's Iron Man suit. Curtis discovers that there's a crash log, and there may be one final message from Ray Palmer that no one has heard before because it's password protected. Felicity doesn't want to help Curtis get into the password protected crash log because she kind of doesn't want to deal with reopening the trauma of her dead ex-boyfriend. Team Arrow discovers that the cop killers are also cops themselves, so the plot twists. Laurel might be keeping Sarah's reincarnation a secret from Oliver, but she is not keeping anything secret from dear old dad this time, okay? Season 3 taught Laurel something. It taught her that she can't just lie to her father anymore. So she shows Quentin Sarah. She takes him into this creepy basement. Sarah is tied up, chained up down there, not a thought in her brain except the thought of murder. Lance, shocked and appalled by this. And Laurel's like, listen, Dad, we'll get her back, okay? I have faith that we can make Sarah Sarah again, okay? Just, like, let her cook. The plan to draw out the corrupt cops involves John Diggle helping Thea buy drugs. And Lance also jokes that him buying a bunch of drugs is not really gonna kick off his mayoral campaign to the best of starts, but Oliver doesn't care, okay? Whatever it takes to stop these crooked cops. On the island, Oliver returns to the plantation and has our first ever, beef moment with Conklin. He thinks it's weird that ever since this Oliver dude shows up, 2 of their guys have stepped on landmines, and they've never had a landmine problem before, so that's a little odd. He wants to see Tiana's body, so Oliver has no choice but to take him to the cave. Quentin Lance goes to talk to Damien Darhk, and he's like, hey, my dead daughter is now back, and you're a magical guy, you know about magic, is there something I can do to make her whole again? And Damien is like, fuck no, dude, the best thing you can do for Sarah is to shoot her in the fucking face and put her out of her misery. Felicity is in the Arrow Cave using her brandy new computers to do some police scanner scanning. She's looking at all of the footage from police body cams and cop cars, and while they're doing this, they see Quentin Lance meeting with Damien Darhk. So, of course, Oliver dramatically confronts Captain Lance about this. He's like, you can't be fucking serious. You're out here bitching at me because I'm the Green Arrow and I'm out here in the dark doing dark shit. You're literally in bed with Damien Darhk. Lance tries to explain himself. He's like, listen, when Damien first approached me, I thought he was just like a philanthropist. I thought he was just a good guy, you know? He was doing good for the city. He was helping us out. And then I got in too deep and he started asking for weird shit. Darhk asked me about the fire chief's schedule and I thought it was weird, but I told him. And then the next day the fucking fire chief was dead and I knew that was Damien Darhk and I tried to get out, but I can't stop helping Damien Darhk because he's threatening Laurel. If I don't do what he wants, he will kill Laurel. And Lance tries to take Damien Darhk's advice and shoot Sarah, but he can't do it. He goes down there, he's like, I'm sorry, baby, and then he doesn't shoot her because he can't do it. That's his baby Sarah. Not Diggle's baby Sarah. Different baby Sarah. They take down the evil cops. Hooray, the day is saved. Lance agrees to be an inside man and be a mole inside Hive and funnel information back to the vigilantes. This is going to be incredibly dangerous for Lance because if he gets found out, then Laurel is in even more danger, but also Laurel can take care of herself. She's the Black Canary. Don't fuck with Laurel, okay? Damien Darhk? There's no fucking way that Damien Darhk could kill Laurel. Are we serious? We all know that ain't Laurel. On the island, Oliver takes Conklin back to the cave. They find Tiana, and she's not breathing because Oliver did that weird jujitsu thing on her where it looks like you're dead, but you're not dead, and he can just, smack her with some celery, and then she'll wake up, but everyone thinks she's dead. You know how it is. While Conklin is walking back to camp, he finds Oliver's secret Argus bag Oh no! Thea is now Oliver's campaign manager. Felicity finally unlocks Ray Palmer's secret pass-coded last words mission log, and she hears Ray Palmer's last words. She and Curtis are listening to this. Sarah Lance has escaped from her enclosure. End screen. The stats for this episode. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 55. The character with the most quips was Quentin Lance. He had 11, and Quentin Lance was the one I laughed at the most. I laughed at him 6 times. The character with the most kills was the dirty cop, Sergeant Warner. She killed 10 people. I do believe I counted every dirty cop kill towards her total. Episode 5, Haunted. This episode has an 8.7 rating on IMDb, and it is the 31st highest rated episode of all time. It is also the highest rated episode of this season, excluding the crossover. So Sarah, she's out, and she is not of sound mind. She kills 2 men in an alleyway. Title screen. Thea hired Oliver, a campaign strategist. His name is Alex. He is here on the board for your viewing pleasure. Oh, I didn't cut off the amateur hour. Anyway, what the hell was I talking about? Oliver is running for mayor and he doesn't have any competition, but he still needs a campaign strategist because the people still have to vote. Think they might be worried about write-in ballots, like whatever. Who the fuck are they gonna write in? On the island, Conklin is trying to explain to Ryder that Oliver is a sneaky little spy. Oliver's got spy gear. Oliver's been killing their men with landmines. But Ryder doesn't have time to give a fuck about whatever Conklin is talking about because a new man has entered the island. Some British dude. Hello. Ryder is currently beating up some British dude who just wants a fucking cigarette, mate. Lance and Laurel discover that Sarah is responsible for about 5 known murders in Pennytown, and they need to find her before someone else does. Felicity's been re-listening to Ray's last words over and over again, and she thinks that there may be an encoded message inside of the crash log, and she asks Curtis to do that because she's got other shit to do. So Curtis gets to work on decoding the crash log, I guess. Damien Darhk asks Quinn and Lance to go to a city server house, a server room, city server farm, the city servers. And he's like, can you put this little device in there, please and thank you? Just because I said so. If you don't, I'll kill your daughter. The team finds out about Sarah pretty quickly, okay? Because, they have police scanners. They heard about a blonde woman killing people, so they go out to see what the deal is, and Oliver sees Sarah. On the island, we learn that this British dude who just wants a cigarette, his name is John Constantine. Because of course it's John Constantine. Hello. He's a magician of sorts, okay? And he doesn't have a magic wand or anything. If you're unfamiliar, if this is your first time hearing about the freaky British DC magic of it all, I don't know if Arrow is, the best at showcasing how this magic system works. It's, weird, It's got a lot to do with, MacGuffins, cigarettes. He brought a map with him. He is looking for something. Ryder is also looking for this exact same thing that Constantine is looking for, I'm pretty sure. Constantine breaks out of his handcuffs. He kidnaps Oliver because Oliver knows the island, forces Oliver to lead him to his magical treasure. The John Constantine of it all. Oliver and Felicity discover a connection between all of Sarah's victims. They all look like Thea. And they're like, oh, is Thea perhaps the target? Because Thea did kill Sarah, technically, on a technicality. Don't forget, it was Malcolm Merlyn who drugged Thea into killing Sarah so that he could gaslight Oliver into killing Ra's al Ghul and give him the keys to the League of Assassins. Don't fucking forget it. So they think Sarah might be coming after Thea, and she does, but Thea gets away. Thea is in the hospital after this attack, and she's kind of arguing with Oliver, and Thea is kind of empathizing with Sarah. She's like, listen, I've got a fucking bloodlust, and I wasn't dead when I went in the pit. I can only imagine the rage that Sarah's feeling right now. And Thea thinks that the only way for Sarah to be whole again is if Sarah kills her. On the island, Constantine and Oliver arrive at a freaky little hatch. They go down into the depths of the grounds of the island of Lianyu. I don't give a shit. Lance takes Diggle with him when he goes to the city server farm to plant Damien Darhk's evil device. This device starts deleting files off of the city servers. They're watching the files get deleted, and Diggle spies with his little eye the name of his brother Andy among the deleted files. Sarah comes back to the hospital to attack Thea again. Thea wants to die. Enter the Thea suicide arc, okay? She's like, Sarah, kill me. Sarah, I get it. Fortunately, Oliver and Laurel bust in and they save Thea before Sarah can kill her. They assume that Thea and Sarah have some kind of magical Lazarus Pit connection, and that's how Sarah's able to track Thea. So they bring Thea back to the Arrow Cave, and they want to use Thea to draw Sarah to them so that they can capture her. On the island, Oliver and Constantine are running around underground in the sewers of Lianyu. They're not really sewers, they're caves. Caverns. They're running around underground. They find a magical spear on the top, staff on the bottom. Constantine explains that Lianyu is a magical, mystical place, and it draws bad people to it, you know, like Ryder. Quentin Lance goes to talk to Damien Darhk about Andy Diggle. Damien Darhk explains that Andy Diggle got mixed up in drug dealing back when he was in the army in Afghanistan, and Hive, they dabble in drugs, and they wanted to take out the competition. That's why they killed Andy. The team catches Sarah in the Arrow Cave, and Oliver calls his good friend John Constantine to come perform a seance on Sarah Lance. Oliver, Laurel, and Constantine hold hands, and they enter Sarah's mind space, and it's the League of Assassins. They fight all of her inner demons to save her soul from its prison inside of her mind, I guess, and they save her, and now Sarah's back and she's not a freak anymore. She's totally normal. Constantine gives Oliver in the present some words to the wise. He's like, hey mate, I think you should Constantine tells Oliver that he should just leave the city before Damien Darhk kills everyone, because Damien Darhk's going to kill everyone. Back on the island, Constantine explains to Oliver that the thing he took, it's a magical artifact of some kind, but it's not the freaky little orb on the top that has the magical powers. It's the weird boring brown stick attached to it that's got the real magic. So he breaks it apart and he gives Oliver the orb. And he's like, take this back to Ryder, you know, because it's fucking useless anyway. I'm taking the what's he call it? The grimoire. It's like the thing from Wicked. He casts a magical spell on Oliver using the grimoire, and it puts these like weird magic rune tattoos like on Oliver's lower chest? Abs, I don't have them. Constantine says that this magical rune tattoo will help him defend against Ryder when the time comes. Now, Quentin Lance has a file on Andy Diggle because Hive gave it to him, and he gives it to John Diggle. John opens it, and he discovers the dark and twisted truths about his baby brother, Andy. Felicity and Curtis decode Ray's last message, and in the message, it says, Felicity, I'm alive, and I need help. End screen! The stats for this episode, the character with the most dramatic pauses was John Constantine. He had 62. He also had the most quips with 9. The character I laughed at the most was a tie between Oliver and Curtis. I laughed at them both twice. And the character with the most kills was Sarah. She killed 5 people. Episode 6, Lost Souls. This episode has a 7.8 rating on IMDb. I was fucking with the lights because there's a shadow on the microphone now, and it's like kind of bothering me. In case you forgot how Ray Palmer famously died, he was tinkering with his Atom suit, and then the entire building, the entire top floor of Palmer Tech, blew up. Ray Palmer went flying out of the building in a comical fashion. Alex, the campaign manager, is stressed about the budget. He's like, Oliver, I'm gonna need the numbers. And Oliver's like, Felicity will take care of it. Alex attempts to ask Thea on a date, and she respectfully declines. Felicity is stressed out. I think this is kind of meant to parallel the scenes from season 3 when Ray was really stressed out about like tinkering with his Atom suit, and he didn't sleep and he didn't eat, and Felicity had to like remind him to sleep and eat. Well, now Curtis is Felicity and Felicity is Ray, and Curtis is like, hey Felicity, you need to like take a nap. And Felicity's like, I will not be sleeping until I find Ray. okay? There's got to be a way for me to track him. Oliver shows up to check in on Felicity because she's been MIA. She hasn't really left the Palmer Tech building in a hot minute. And when Curtis sees Oliver, first words out of Curtis's mouth when he sees Oliver, he's married and he's straight. He's married and he's straight, okay? Time for some Curtis fast facts because I've been kind of skipping over them. Curtis is gay. Curtis is an Olympic athlete. He's incredibly smart. He's married as well. He also created a bunch of weird tech that's just hanging out in the top floor of the Palmer Tech building, including some exploding balls that have the letter T embossed on them. Perhaps one day they may call them the T-spheres, but for now, they're exploding balls. So Felicity's like, Oliver, Ray is alive. We need to find him. This message that Ray sent to them, telling them that he's alive, was sent only 6 days ago. On the island, Oliver leads Conklin and Ryder to the cave, the manhole, whatever the fuck that Constantine brought him to in the last episode. They go down there, and Ryder sees a message on the wall written in an ancient language, and from these ancient runes, he discovers that his gift, the thing that he's looking for, is somewhere underwater that's surrounded by mountains. Felicity and Oliver are chilling out when Felicity's code finishes compiling. They end up getting on a FaceTime call with Ray. And Ray reveals that he thinks he's being held against his will. He's not really sure. Whoever has him wants the tech in his suit, but there's a little problem. It's useless in its current condition. He's shrunk. He's tiny. He's really fucking small. That's the condition. Title screen. Felicity and Oliver catch Laurel up to speed and the rest of the team on the race situation. Felicity goes to Palmer Tech to get a device that could hopefully resize Ray when they find him. On the island, Oliver goes back to fuck around in the cave with Tiana, and while he's gone, Conklin approaches one of the other prisoners, and he's like, hey, Vlad, you wanna do something for me? Felicity and Curtis discover that the only way to make Ray big again is if they can get a very specific MacGuffin manifold from Cord Industries. And if you think Cord Industries is ever going to be relevant again in this show, think again. Ted Cord is not in the building. While they're talking about this MacGuffin manifold, Donna shows up! If you forgot, that's Felicity's mom. Vegas girl, Vegas queen. The entire team suits up, including Sarah, who is still chilling with them. They go to get the MacGuffin manifold from Cord Industries. Ray FaceTimes Felicity again, excited by the news that they have this manifold, but his captor shows up. Uh-oh, who is it? They mean Darhk. Right now, the team has to wait for Curtis to finish tinkering with the manifold before they can go find Ray. And Felicity doesn't like that she has to sit around and wait, but Oliver, planned a dinner with Donna, so they gotta go to that. Oliver Queen wants to have dinner with Donna Smoke at a time like this. So dinner with Donna goes about as well as you would expect it to. Donna immediately clocks that both of them are fighting. She leaves. And then Oliver and Felicity, they air out their grievances, okay? Felicity's upset with herself because she was so swept up in being with Oliver and living in Ivy Town and blah, 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 vigilante. Now she's back here and all this shit's going on. And she didn't want to discover Ray's message because of Oliver. And then Oliver's all sad, and Diggle gives him some relationship advice. Diggle, again, #1 Olicity shipper. On the island, Oliver returns from eating sandwiches in the cave with Tiana, and he gets attacked by Vlad. They're out in the ocean, and Vlad is attempting to drown Oliver. Lance is able to use his inside information to find out where Darhk's hideout is, where he's holding Ray, and then he gives that information to the team. Felicity is upset about everything with Oliver, and she talks to her mom, and her mom is like, Felicity, the whole point of being in love with someone is that you get swept up in each other, okay? You lose yourselves in each other, and then you find yourselves together. And that's the whole fucking point, Felicity. They assemble the team. It's time to rescue Ray Palmer. The team has got everyone in it, even Curtis, okay? They're bringing motherfucking Curtis along because he isn't finished with his embiggening device. He has to keep tinkering with it while they're on the move. Curtis doesn't know who any of these people are. Like, they're all wearing their masks. They're using their code names. The only thing he knows is that Felicity knows who these people are. They break into Darhk's building and they make it like a fake out where Diggle is pretending to be a Hive soldier. He knocks out Oliver, ties him up, and then gives him to Damien Darhk. Meanwhile, Curtis and Felicity parachute into the building from across the street. Oliver breaks free from his chains. Curtis and Felicity find Ray. They shoot him with the embiggening device. He is back to normal size again, and they are able to rescue him. Yay! Ray is like, hey, it's super cool that you found me and that I'm normal size and that I'm alive again. Great, I love that. But I would like to remain dead in the public eye, you know? You can keep the company, Felicity. You're doing a great job. Love your work. I need some me time. On the island, Oliver, being attacked right now, almost drowning, he manages to kill Vlad. And then all of the workers and the other soldiers see this happen, and Conklin's like, hey, what the fuck, brother? You're gonna have some serious explaining to do. Sarah wants to go her own way. Okay, she is going through Lazarus Pit fever. She needs to leave and see what else life has in store for her. And that's the last we will ever see of Sarah Lance. She will not ever appear ever again in any episode of anything. It's a real shame too, because she was just so cool. She could totally be the lead of her own, like, maybe time travel show, but that never happens, which is crazy. Oliver and Felicity make up. Olicity is still on. The relationship is still good. Quentin and Donna have a meet cute at a bar. Laurel's dad and Felicity's mom have a meet cute at a bar. Let that sink in. Thea decides that she does want to go on a date with Alex, actually. And then Damien Darhk is talking about how he was able to harness some of Ray's Dwarf Star alloy to create a new power source for whatever his evil plan is. End screen. The stats for this episode: the character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 44. The character with the most quips was Felicity. She had 10. The character that I laughed at the most was a tie between Felicity and Ray. I laughed at them both 3 times. And the character with the most kills was a tie between Oliver and Sarah. They both killed 1 person. Episode 7, Brotherhood. This episode has a 7.9 rating on IMDb. Hive is sending out their ghosts to rob a truck full of money, and during this fight, Team Arrow shows up, and John Diggle runs one of them over with a van. I'm done. The video's over. So the ghosts destroy the truck full of money. Title screen. The team convenes in the Arrow Cave, and they discuss Darhk's plan. What could Damien Darhk possibly be planning? We know he wants to destroy the city. We still don't know why. Oliver suspects that Darhk wants to use Star City as a base of operations for his evil plan, because if there's no police force, and the city has no money, and everything is really terrible, then the government won't come after him. Diggle shows Oliver the dossier that Lance gave him about Andy. Diggle is like, this is proof that my brother was a drug dealer. My brother was a terrible fucking person, and I trusted him. And Oliver's like, Dig, this could be like fake. You ever think about that? This could be fake. On the island, Conklin reveals that Vlad was Tiana's brother. Team Arrow shows up to Wolfman Biologics. They steal a sample of a yellow chemical. Diggle unmasks one of the ghosts during this fight. And wouldn't you fucking know it? That'd be Andy Diggle, sir. Yeah, psych, he's alive. On the island, the boys are fighting, alright? Conklin is like, Oliver killed Vlad for no reason. And then Oliver's like, no, Conklin told Vlad to attack me. I was just defending myself. And it's a he said situation. So what does Ryder do? He uses some sticks and does a little magic spell and to determine which one of them is telling the truth, and Conklin breaks the stick, so he's obviously lying. Also, Oliver steals a map from Ryder's office. Lance meets with Damien Darhk, and Darhk suspects that Lance might be a little untrustworthy, okay? He's giving traitor vibes. Malcolm pays Thea a visit because he's concerned that the deaths from the League of Assassins have worn off. So he's like, hey, darling daughter, here is some information about a local pedophile. If you want to go kill that guy, I think you'd be doing the world a service, and you'd be helping your bloodlust. It's a 2-for-1 special. And Thea is like, no, I'm not going to kill anyone. Everyone is all up in John's business now that they know Andy is alive. And they're all like, hey, maybe this is a big misunderstanding. Maybe Damien Darhk brainwashed him. Maybe Andy isn't evil. And Diggle is like, no, dude, he's a drug dealer. He's a liar. He's a cheater probably too. Like, I can't hold any space for Andy. There is simply no space left. There's an event at the SCPD. Oliver is there doing mayoral campaign shit when Damien Darhk approaches. He approaches Oliver and he's like, hey, I think you and me, we can make a great team. You and me, if you become the mayor and then you do whatever I want, I think the world would be a better place that way. Oliver wants to restore the Star City Bay because it's kind of a mess. And Damien is like, how about you don't do that? Oliver's like, okay, what if I don't listen to you? And Damien's like, well then, you'd no longer be running unopposed. Oliver is considering listening to Darhk. He's like, Lance is about to get found out as a mole, so why don't I, as Mayor Oliver Queen, become Damien Darhk's little mole so then I can get all up in there myself and we don't have to put Lance in the line of fire. And Felicity is like, that's the dumbest idea you've ever had. Thea is out on a date with Alex. They are officially dating at this point, and a creepy man hits on her during the date. She reacts in the most extreme way possible, like almost breaking his arm or some shit. Oliver and Diggle are on a stakeout. They're spying on Damien Darhk and his secret mission. Damien is recruiting new ghosts. He's giving each of these new recruits a little yellow pill, and he says that when they take this pill, it'll kind of brainwash them. They'll be more susceptible to Darhk's suggestions. This show really loves the term susceptible to suggestion. Like we were saying that last season with whatever the fuck Malcolm's magical herbs were, and now we're saying it again with these yellow pills. On the island, Oliver breaks the news to Tiana that her brother is dead. He does not say how he died. Team Arrow discovers that the ghosts might be hiding in a psych ward, so they suit up and they go there, and their plan is they want to rescue Andy, because now that they've seen the yellow drugs, Oliver is convinced that Andy got in over his head and he's been brainwashed and he's still, able to be saved. Diggle is like, no, that dude is a drug dealer. He's unable to be saved. He was bad from the get-go, I just didn't see it, so you need to leave him be. Thea is the one who finds Andy, and she gets into a fight with him, and this fight scene was actually really cool. There's like multiple fight scenes in every episode. A lot of them are like drawn out and boring. It's like, how many times can you see Oliver kick someone in the face, really? How many times can we do that? But this fight scene between Thea and Andy was like really good, because they had like a guy with a camera like following them. I don't know, what do you call that? Like when the K-pop idols are dancing and then the guy with the big camera is there walking back and forth. Like that guy. They did that for this fight scene, and I thought it was really cool. It felt more dynamic. Like, I felt like I was up in Thea's grill while this was happening. No one says up in the grill anymore. Thea knocks out Andy, but then Damien Darhk shows up, and he wants to finish off Thea, so he tries to magic her. But the magic doesn't work on Thea. And Damien's like, that's never happened before. This is super awkward. Oliver decides that he will not be working with Damien Darhk, and they also now have Andy caged in the Arrow Cave. On the island, Oliver brings his map to Tiana. He wants to use this map to get to the location of whatever object Ryder is after so that they can get it first and destroy it before Ryder can use it for bad guy things. Thea tells her father about her experience with Damien Darhk and how when he whammied her, she didn't die. In fact, she thinks that her bloodlust might be cured, like she feels normal. Diggle confronts Andy, caged in the Arrow Cave, and Andy is like, it's all true. Everything in the file. It's all true, John. I am bad. I'm bad to the bone. Oliver does go clean up the bay, and he brings the press with him, and he makes a speech, and he promises that he is going to make the city a better place for everyone in the light, and he will not be consumed by the dark. End screen. The stats for this episode, the character with the most dramatic pauses was a tie between Oliver and Diggle. They both had 37. The character with the most quips was Felicity and Ray. They both had 6. And the character that I laughed at the most was Malcolm. I laughed at him twice. And the character with the most kills was Diggle. He killed one person, literally blew a ghost up right in the face with a bomb. Episode 8, Legends of Yesterday. This episode has an 8.8 rating on IMDb and is the highest rated episode of the season and of all time. We open on ancient Egypt, the Middle Kingdoms. The Pharaoh is freaking out because the sky rocks are falling more frequently. The priestess Shayara and Prince Khufu go make out in the hall while Vandal Savage watches them, glaring with the rage of 1,000 suns. Yep, that happened. Now, if you're confused, we were just talking about cleaning up the Star City Bay, and now you're telling me we're in ancient Egypt, the Middle Kingdoms. What is going on? Are you pranking me? It's episode 8, which is canonically the time the crossover always happens. The crossover this season is between Arrow and The Flash. The first part of the crossover happens on The Flash. The second part of the crossover happens on Arrow. The ancient Egypt, the Middle Kingdoms will make a lot more sense if you have the context of the plot of Legends of Yesterday before you watch this. And if you would like to know a full detailed breakdown of the crossover, you're going to have to go to my Flash Season 2 video because I talked about both parts of the crossover in that video. Here's a quick recap of the crossover, but I'm only going to be talking about the relevant parts for Arrow. Oliver and his friends have to team up with Barry Allen and the nerds from Star Labs to defeat Vandal Savage, an immortal freak who is after Hawkman and Hawkgirl. When Oliver gets to Central City, he has a run-in with Samantha. Yes, the very same Samantha that Miss Moira Queen bribed in Season 2 because she was pregnant with Oliver's child. So Oliver reconnects with Samantha. He discovers that she has a son. Her son is named William, and it's Oliver's son too, okay? Oliver's a dad. Whoa. Now, Oliver obviously wants to be a part of William's life, but Samantha will only let Oliver be a part of William's life on the condition that he keeps William a secret from everyone. That includes Felicity. Oliver doesn't like this arrangement, but it's the only way that he can be civil with Samantha and see his son, so he agrees. Felicity discovers William. Barry Allen overhears a conversation between the two of them where they're fighting. Felicity isn't mad that Oliver has a son. She's mad that Oliver kept it a secret from her because Felicity Smoke hates a secret. After this argument with Felicity, Oliver's not in a good headspace, so when he goes to fight Vandal Savage, he's off his game. And this results in literally every single person dying a fiery death. Fortunately, Barry Allen can run back in time and we can get a do-over of the events. And Barry remembers everything that happened, but everyone else forgets. Barry tells Oliver that he should probably keep William a secret from Felicity because she got real upset when she found out. So they get a redo, they fight Vandal Savage again, everyone lives, they kill Vandal Savage, and now Felicity has no idea about William, and Oliver is still keeping up his deal with Samantha. Barry Allen is like, hey Oliver, I've time traveled before. Every time I do, there's always something catastrophic that happens. I'm pretty sure it's going to have to do with Felicity and your relationship. And Oliver's like, that sounds like bullshit. I'm not worried about it. That's the whole crossover. Now I can take this off. Ooh. Episode 9, Dark Waters. This episode has an 8.7 rating on IMDb. Oliver's little project to clean up the Star City Bay is going great. It's off to a great start. So, of course, a drone comes in, and it's got a gun on it, and it starts just shooting bullets. So, Felicity's able to hack the drone, but people do get injured at this event. Title screen. So, in the Arrow Cave, the team discuss this attack. They're like, okay, that was obviously Damien Darhk. They still have Andy in the Arrow Cave, so Oliver is like, John, can you go have a little brotherly chat with Andy and find out some information about Darhk? Maybe we could use that intel. He's been in this cage for 2 weeks. Diggle goes to ask Andy what Darhk wants with the Bay, but he claims that he doesn't know. Donna Smoke is decorating the Queen Loft with a lot of holiday decorations. A lot of blue, a lot of tinsel. She's Jewish, by the way. And while she's digging through these boxes of holiday decorations, she gasps and pulls out a ring box with an engagement ring in it, and she's like, Felicity! Oh my fucking god! And Felicity is like, Wait. Oliver's like, okay, my next move has to be something devious. So he goes live on air and announces to the people that there's a madman named Darhk, and he shows him a headshot of this guy, and he's like, this dude is behind the ghosts. This dude wants to destroy the city. If you see this man, call me. Darhk is not exactly excited to be blasted as a terrorist to the entire city. And the Hive Guys, Burgers and Fries, they are not happy about this. They're like, hey, Damien, I think you've lost the plot a little bit. You really need to take care of the Green Arrow, okay? We told you months ago, when our asses first got here, that you need to take out the Green Arrow. And why is the Green Arrow still breathing, bro? On the island, Oliver and Tiana are marching towards the freighter. Remember the freighter? The location where Oliver stabbed Slade Wilson in the eye. Oliver explains to Tiana that he thinks that Ryder is on this island searching for a mystical artifact. But in order to get that mystical artifact, he needs to find another MacGuffin, which will show him the way to it. So the map that Oliver stole is going to lead him to the MacGuffin, and he's going to hopefully I don't fucking know. It's stupid. Everything that's happening on the island is stupid. It's a waste of time. If John Constantine did not pop up on this island and give Oliver that ab tattoo, Oliver would have been cooked so many times over. The John Constantine of it all. We need to take a minute and talk about Malcolm and Thea and their dynamic and the way that they speak to each other and the weird tension that is in the what is going on there, because I have a lot of questions. They're both trying to like out snark each other. Malcolm will say something witty and then Thea will have to fire something witty back, and it's just like, that's a weird dynamic for a father and daughter to have. Am I the only one who thinks that season 4 Malcolm and Thea need to tone it down a little bit? Am I the only one who feels weird whenever I watch those scenes? So Malcolm arrives, he wants to talk to Thea about her bloodlust again, but she's like, yo, Dad, lighten up, it's fucking Christmas, and also Darhk, his magic to my magic, so now I'm we're good. The holiday party is on. Felicity invited Curtis. Curtis brought his husband, Paul. This is the first time we are seeing Paul. Felicity's talking to Curtis and Paul, and they're reminiscing about how Paul proposed to Curtis. Paul is saying that he put the ring at the bottom of the ocean in a clamshell or some shit because there was no way that Curtis was gonna like find it if he put it in a cupcake the way straight people do. And then Felicity's like, wait, the souffle. So she's freaking out about this fucking souffle. She's running around. She finds her mom, and her mom is flirting with Quentin. Okay, they're kind of like dating now. She's like, I'm gonna bang my head against the wall to forget about that, but also we need to talk about the souffle, mother. Oliver was going to propose to me back when we were living in Ivytown, but he didn't. Why didn't he? And she goes to confront Oliver about it. And Oliver explains that, like, being a vigilante and being married and running for mayor, like, it seemed kind of like a lot. So he just decided that it wasn't the right time. But he still loves Felicity. He still wants to marry her, but he just doesn't think that the timing is right anymore. And Felicity's kind of upset by this. She's like, but, like, why can't we have both? Why can't we be married vigilantes? And before they can unpack that, Darhk shows up, gunshot, pow, 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 pow. He's like, Oliver, I killed all your security guards, and now I'm going to kidnap the people that you care the most about because you didn't listen to me about the goddamn bay. I'm taking Felicity, Thea, and Diggle. So on the island, we learn that Tiana is a dive instructor, and she gives Oliver the basics of free diving, and then he dives into the water and swims to the freighter. Oliver sends an SOS text to everyone in Team Arrow who's around. So Laurel, Quentin, they show up to the Arrow Cave. There's somebody else in there. Can you guess? Any guesses? Yeah, it's Malcolm, because Thea was kidnapped, so now it's fucking personal. So Lance is like, whoa, dude, that's Malcolm Merlin, bro, and he pulls a gun on him. Malcolm's like, yeah, I'm not as dead as you thought, okay? I know, it's really shocking, I'm full of surprises. So Oliver's plan is he is going to trade himself for Felicity, Diggle, and Thea. So Oliver goes to Darhk's lair and lets himself be captured. While we're touring the evil lair, we see that Darhk has a gas chamber. And then he starts talking about Nazis. He's like, yeah, the Nazis they were cooking when they invented the gas chamber. This shit's a marvel. He says that, okay? Damien Darhk has one of his followers, one of his most loyal supporters, voluntarily walk into the gas chamber to demonstrate how it kills people. Back in the Arrow Cave, Laurel puts on her cute little outfit, and then Malcolm's like, oh good, you got your bondage outfit on. Direct quote from the show. Apparently, Malcolm tagged Oliver with some tracking nanites, the very same that he himself was tagged with before. They head out to Hive. Lance wants to come too, but Laurel's like, dude, your cover will be blown if you show up and help us, okay? You're supposed to be the inside man. Let's keep it that way. Now, Oliver and Felicity are inside a cave inside Damien Darhk's evil lair, and they talk about their marriage issues, and, you know, they kind of end up on the same page with their relationship again, so we're all good. On the island, Oliver gets into the freighter, he finds the maps that he was looking for, he starts swimming back, and then he gets bit by a shark. Back at Hive, Damien Darhk was never going to trade Thea, Diggle, and Felicity for Oliver. That wasn't the plan. The plan was for Oliver to stand outside the gas chamber and watch Thea, Laurel, and Felicity get gassed. The Green Arrow and the Black Canary show up to save Oliver and friends. And yes, the Green Arrow is Malcolm, right? There's just something so specific about when the villain wears the hero's outfit that it just like, it makes you pause, okay? Because I paused. They are able to save everyone from the gas chamber, and then Malcolm, dressed as the Green Arrow, gets in a one-on-one fight with Damien Darhk. Lance shows up to this fight, blowing his cover to smithereens to help save his daughter. Now, Damien Darhk is kicking Malcolm's ass. Okay, Malcolm would lose. Malcolm would lose that fight. Everyone's all like, ooh, no one can kill Malcolm Merlyn except Oliver. Damien Darhk can kill Malcolm Merlyn. Now, Malcolm is able to fend off Damien Darhk. He throws a bomb at him and then smirks a little smirk before he runs away. And then before the bomb goes off, Damien Darhk starts saying spells. And then the whole building blows up. The island, Oliver washes ashore. He's got a shark bite on his leg. Who else is at the shore? Conklin. Yep. Conklin's there, and they're like, oh, you got a lot of explaining to do. I don't care. You might think that Damien Darhk's entire base of operations being blown up is, you know, gonna set him back. No, that wasn't his real secret lair, because Damien Darhk is alive, he survived the bombing, and now he's chatting with the Hive guys, Burgers and Fries. They're walking around in a cornfield, and it's underground. They're in an underground cornfield. The air down here is now perfectly breathable, so it's time for Phase 4. Phase 4, Oliver, after surviving this encounter, all of his friends and family are safe. He goes on live TV, gives a speech about how Damien Darhk will not win. They will stand up to him in the light, and then he gets down on one knee and proposes to Felicity on television, and oh my god, of course she said yeah. Things don't stay happy for very long. As we know, when the Arrowverse giveth, the Arrowverse taketh away. So things might be great right now. They're not great as soon as Oliver and Felicity get into the car. They get into a massive car wreck, and while the car is flipping over and gunshots are ringing out, the fucking Little Drummer Boy is playing in the background. Like, why? End screen. The stats for this episode. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 38. The character with the most quips was Damien. He had 9. The character that I laughed at the most was Felicity. I laughed at her 9 times. And the character with the most kills was Malcolm. He killed 2 people. Episode 10. Blood Debts. This has a 7.7 rating on IMDb, and it is the 30th lowest rated episode of all time. Remember, someone is dying. Timetable, 4 months from now. Felicity, in the present, is in the hospital getting emergency surgery, okay? Oliver, after that car crash, he's fine. Felicity, she's not. Title screen. So Felicity is about to go in for another surgery, and Laurel is like, hey, Oliver, you want to stay at the hospital and be with her? And he's like, no, I need to be out in the streets finding the ghosts, because I want to kill Damien Darhk. So Diggle, mad, okay, because nobody fucks with Felicity Smoke. So he goes down into the Arrow Cave and he yells at his brother. He's very aggro. He's like, you crossed the line. You're gonna need to start spilling all of your beans. Oliver asks Quentin Lance where he goes when he meets with Damien Darhk, because he wants to go kill Damien Darhk. And Lance is like, I don't really condone murder, but like, sure, this is the location. So Oliver pulls up to the location, and when he gets there, he finds 5 dead people and the anarchy symbol. And that can only mean that Lonnie Machin is back in town. On the island, Oliver returns to camp. He is bitten by a shark. He's got these maps. Ryder takes the maps from Oliver, and then he lets Conklin whip him in front of all of the other soldiers and the prisoners. Thea is worried that Machin is going to be coming for her, okay? Because remember, Thea lit him on fire. What is Lonnie Machin doing? Well, he just killed his foster parents. He's going after the Hive members, and he clearly wants to kill Damien Darhk. They actually are able to capture Lonnie Machin and bring him back to the Arrow Cave to question him, but Oliver isn't able to get any answers from him at the moment because something is going on with Felicity at the hospital. Diggle, instead of being aggro, decides to take the brotherly approach to talking to Andy. He sits down and they start brothering, I guess. Thea is babysitting Lonnie Machin in the Arrow Cave, and he's like, "You burnt away my weakness. I'm like a phoenix reborn from the ashes. That is you. You baptize me in the fire, Speedy. We will always have a connection." Oliver wanted to keep Lonnie Machin in the Arrow Cave to question him, but Laurel and Thea decided to turn him in to the cops because it's better to have that guy in jail. So the cops show up and they arrest Lonnie Machin. At the hospital, Donna sits down with Oliver, and she tearfully explains that something went wrong with Felicity's surgery, and she will never be able to walk again. On the island, while Oliver is getting whipped in front of the town square, his little ab tattoo starts glowing, right? The John Constantine of it all. And when Ryder sees the abs glowing, he's like, "Yo, stop! Halt!" Oliver, back in the present, has just saw the news report that Lonnie Machin has been arrested, so he takes it upon himself to suit up as the Green Arrow and break Lonnie Machin out of jail so that he can go kill Damien Darhk. Somebody will notice, so I have to bring it up. I pre-cut these out in batches, and sometimes I forget who is supposed to get what, and I wrote down super chill guy, and I forgot who it was for, and so I was like, that must be Damien Darhk, right? Like, it must be a joke. No, it's not a joke, it's Alex. Alex is the super chill guy, because when Thea comes up to him and explains that she's not ready to be in a serious relationship, he's super chill about it. Oliver finally goes to see Felicity in the hospital. Okay, he's been at the hospital, but he hasn't gone into her room and seen her. So he goes to see her. She doesn't look very good. In sickness and in health, am I right? On the island, Oliver agrees to help Ryder with his mystical, magical, whatever the fuck, as long as Tiana is spared. Andy gave some information about where Darhk's location might be, and it turned out that that information was good. So they suit up, and they go there. Someone else got there first. Who? Yeah, Lonnie Machin. Right. He has Damien Darhk's wife and child tied up. That's right, Damien Darhk has a wife and a child. There's the wife. The wife's name is Ruve, and the daughter's name is Nora, making her Nora number 2 in the Arrowverse, because Barry Allen's mom is named Nora, so she's Nora number 1. This is Nora number 2. It's like the Franks all over again. No spoilers, but there's gonna be a Nora number 3. Buckle up for her, because she's a little excessive. So, Lonnie Machin is at Damien Darhk's mansion. He has Ruve and Nora number 2 tied up. He is going to torture them, because he's mad at Damien Darhk. Team Arrow shows up. They save the women and children. Machin gets away, and then Damien Darhk shows up. And Damien's like, "You came here to save my family?" And he stops magicking Oliver, and he's like, "You know what? I still want to kill you. I do, okay? And I have shown you repeatedly that you cannot beat me. So I'm gonna give you some time to spend with your loved ones. We're gonna put a pin in it, all right? We're gonna boop." On the island, Oliver and Tiana are thrown into a jail cell together. Thea comes back to Alex, and she's like, "Hey, I lied about not wanting to be in a relationship," and then they kiss. Damien, Ruve, and Nora number 2 are in a car. They're driving to their new home, and Ruve is kind of pissed. She's like, "Why didn't you kill the Arrow? Why is that green bitch still running around in this city?" And Damien's like, "Relax. Why don't we turn up the radio? Would you prefer M or F?" She's like, "Listen, Genesis is almost ready, so we gotta kill that dude. Twinkle Toes and his bow and arrow have got to go." And Damien's like, "Listen, It'll be fine. Relax. I'm the one with the magic, okay? So, like, don't be questioning me. Continuing the funeral time jump. We are back at the cemetery 4 months in the future. Oliver gets in the back of a car, and we see Felicity. She is alive in 4 months, and she is upset. She's pissed the fuck off. She's like, Oliver, you know what you have to do, right? You have to kill him. End screen. The stats for this episode. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 45. The character with the most quips was a tie between Thea and Andy. They both had 5. The character I laughed at the most was Darhk. I laughed at him 3 times. And the character with the most kills was Lonnie Machin. He killed 7 people. Episode 11. A.W.O.L. This episode has a 7.6 rating on IMDb, and it is the 22nd lowest rated episode of all time. Diggle and Lila are walking down the street, as you do, minding their own business, chit-chatting, when suddenly, and without warning, an Argus agent approaches Lila, and he's like, I need your help. I am in trouble. They're after me. And then the people who are after this guy show up, and they kidnap this Argus guy, and then Diggle ends up getting drug around behind a van for at least 10 whole seconds, but his knees are not scraped. There is not a single scratch on his jeans. I think John Diggle's legs are indestructible. Title screen. Felicity has been discharged from the hospital. She is in a wheelchair. Like I said, she will never be walking ever again. No shot. Oliver wants her to come back down to the Arrow Cave because they could use her help, you know? They always need someone behind the keyboard. She thinks that she's useless and she doesn't want to go down there. Diggle and Andy are chatting inside of Andy's cage because he's still in the cage. They're eating Big Belly Burger. Hey, I love a Big Belly Burger cameo. And then we get our first Diggle war flashback of the season. I love a good war flashback. So in Afghanistan in 2005, both of the Diggle brothers are serving in the army. They're in the middle of some kind of battle, and Andy does something very heroic. He, sacrifices himself. No, he's going to sacrifice himself. But everyone lives, and then, wow, Andy, what a hero. Okay, Felicity crashing out at the Queen Loft. Hallucinating emo Felicity. Emo Felicity, her old self. The version of her that she was when she was in college, back when she was a hacktivist with her boyfriend Cooper, who went to jail and faked his death. Laurel is helping Diggle and Lila investigate that dead Argus agent. Yeah, he's dead now. Someone killed him and took his eyeball. Lila, she's not Argus anymore. She quit Argus, but she does go to Argus to talk to Amanda Waller because, she might be in danger as well. Amanda Waller gives her a flash drive. This flash drive contains information about an organization called Shadowspire. Oh, Amanda Waller. Shadowspire is another government agency and Black Ops government agency. They are evil, I guess. During the 2005 Afghanistan flashback, one of the army sergeants approached Andy Diggle, and he's like, hey, do you want to sell some drugs? And Andy is like, no, me? Selling drugs? Fat chance, sir. And then John sees this, and he's like, wow, little bro, you're such a good guy. Back in the present, Andy has been associated with Shadowspire, of course. Small world, right? So he gives some intel. He explains that Shadowspire, they like to misdirect. The team heads out to a place that could be Shadowspire's base of operations, and they kind of need Felicity's help to hack into the security systems. When they get there, they find 2 dead Argus agents, a fight ensues, and Felicity kind of chokes, and she fucks up a little bit behind the keys, but everyone does make it out alive. Emo Felicity is taunting her. She's like, I am the best version of you. You think you can hide behind your blonde hair and your sensible fashion, but I am you. I see me in you. Andy is being transported from Arrow Jail to Argus Jail. The team knows that Shadowspire is potentially misdirecting them, and yet they fall for the misdirection hook, line, and sinker while they are out chasing a MacGuffin. The Shadowspire guys are at Argus. They have Amanda Waller at gunpoint. They want the codes for some Argus system. The main guy of Shadowspire is the army sergeant from the 2005 Afghanistan flashback who was trying to convince Andy to deal drugs. The only two people who managed to not get held captive at Argus are Andy and John. They're in a separate room. And they can't contact the team because something cell phone signal jammer. Andy is like, yo, Dig, let me out of my cage. Let me help you. I know these guys. I can help you save your wife. The Shadowspire dude is like, Amanda Waller, give me the access codes or I'll start executing every single person in this room. And Amanda Waller is like, I do not care, okay? You could kill every single agent in this room, and I would still not give you the fucking access codes. The Shadowspire guy's like, welp, whatever you say, and then he kills Amanda Waller. I was upset. I am upset. The Shadowspire guy is like, Amanda Waller was a dead end, but you, Lila, you know the access codes, and you have a moral compass. So I'm gonna start executing people until you tell me the access codes. John relents, and he lets Andy out of the cage, and then Andy does like a double cross of Shadowspire. He pretends to be on their side, and then he turns on them. Andy and John are best bros again. Lila is okay, but Amanda Waller died, and I'm upset, like I said, upsetting. Back in the Afghanistan flashback 2005, we learn that Ryder was there. Baron fucking Ryder was in Afghanistan in 2005, and he was talking to the Shadowspire agent. 5 years later, in 2010, Baron Ryder goes to the island of Lian Yu in search of a mystical artifact. And that very same idol that Baron Ryder is after in 2005, Damien Darhk has in the present, which is 2017? So I did the math, and that means that Damien Darhk has had this powerful death idol for 5 years at least, and at most 7, and yet he has not posed a threat to any of our superheroes until just now. Right, okay. Felicity is finished with her crash out, and she burns a picture of her old self. Emo Felicity is dead. Andy is now welcomed into John's home with Lila and baby Sarah, who is still a girl. Thank you for asking. End screen. The stats for this episode. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Felicity. She had 38. The character with the most quips was also Felicity. She had 9. And the character I laughed at the most was Diggle. I laughed at him 4 times. The character with the most kills was the Shadowspire man, who was also the army sergeant. He killed 6 people. Episode 12, Unchained. This episode has an 8.0 rating on IMDb. There is a full-on uprising going on at the League of Assassins. Nyssa just destroyed the Lazarus Pit, so Malcolm locked her up in League of Assassins jail. Nyssa Al-Ghul has a couple of supporters left lying around, and one of them breaks her out of League of Assassins jail, and Malcolm is not currently at the League of Assassins. So they kind of take over Nanda Parbat, and they mention this thing called the Lotus. Then in Star City, Thea is with the team. They're chasing down a burglar. During this chase, Thea passes out. Title screen. In the Arrow Cave, the team speculates that Thea passed out because of Lazarus Pit-related issues, and Oliver blames himself for this. At Palmer Tech, Felicity and Curtis and one of the chairmen, they're doing a run-through of Felicity's new presentation because they just created this new power source and Felicity needs to present it to the board to prove to them that this will make them money, right? She just got this wheelchair. These wheels are new to her, so she's pretty clunky with the wheels. And she's rolling around trying to do this presentation dry run, and she keeps hitting into things, and it's not going very well. And the chairman, who is there, his name is Mr. Dennis. He has been in a couple of the episodes before. Mr. Dennis is like, hey, Felicity, I love you, but maybe somebody else should give this presentation. Malcolm Merlin explains to Oliver Thea's condition. He mansplains the whole thing for all of us. Thea is not indulging her bloodlust, therefore she will die. Oliver's confused. He's like, but Sarah is fine. And Malcolm's like, well, that's because your buddy John Constantine performed a seance on her. Sarah has her soul back. Thea doesn't. Oliver and the team are tracking down the same robber from earlier, and they unmask this guy. Roy! I'm gonna be so fucking for real with you. It's always a good episode when Roy Harper's in it. Tell me I'm wrong. Name one episode that Roy Harper was in that sucked, okay? I'll wait. The team is like, Oliver, you sure that was Roy? Okay, because we live in a world where people can disguise themselves as other people. You know, the Eobard Thawne of it all, the Harrison Wells of it all. No, that's definitely Roy, okay? In the flesh. Felicity makes a goofy little comment, and this is foreshadowing, unfortunately. She's like, damn, first Ray comes back from the dead, and now Sarah comes back from the dead, and now Roy is back. Who could possibly be next? Who's not next is the better question. Alex, the campaign strategist, comes up to Oliver and he's like, yo, I have some bad news. There is a new candidate. Who? Ruve Adams. Right, but see, it's just Ruve Darhk, but that she's calling herself Adams. On the island, Oliver is hallucinating Shadow because he has a guilty conscience because he killed Tyenna's brother and he hasn't told her. So Shadow, in his mind palace, helps him deal with that. The Arrow approaches Ruve Darhk, Ruve Adams, Rusle, and he's like, hey, I need you to set up a meeting with your husband. I have a proposition for him. So Felicity is putting the pieces together on all of the things that Roy has been stealing, and she assumes that he's trying to build a web nuke. But Roy doesn't know how to build a web nuke. Roy's not that smart, okay? Roy had tiny brain. You need big brain to build web nuke. So there must be somebody who's like calling the shots here. The next logical thing for them to steal is our next generation battery that Curtis and I have just perfected at Palmer Tech. Unfortunately for Curtis, Roy shows up at Palmer Tech and he attacks him. Alright, and to Curtis's credit, he tries to fight back, alright? He throws a couple of punches, he dodges some shit. Curtis even throws one of his T-balls at him, right? The ball backfires and he ends up exploding himself through the wall because the wall is made of glass. Team Arrow shows up. Felicity's watching through the security cameras and she notices there's something weird in Roy's eye. So she has Oliver hit him with a trank arrow and then they take him back to the arrow cave and they take the tech out of his eye. Roy is able to speak freely. He explains that he was blackmailed, okay? Some dude called the Calculator found him. Roy obviously couldn't risk exposing the team by asking for help, so that's why he wasn't able to do that. In Japan, Nissa and this random girl from the League of Assassins stroll up to a mountaintop, I think. I don't know. They're looking for the Crescent Order. The Crescent Order are enemies of the League of Assassins, and one of the members of the Crescent Order is guarding this magical lotus thing. Who is it? Tatsu. Yeah, Tatsu from season 3. She gets in a fight with Nissa because Nissa wants the magical lotus. Before any one of them can kill the other, Nissa explains her plan. She's like, listen, this has to do with Oliver Queen. Roy goes to stop in and say hi to Thea, and while they're having a little bonding moment, the wound, the stab wound in Thea's chest from Ra's al Ghul, it starts to reopen. And then Malcolm shows up and he's like, dude, there's nothing we can do. We just have to wait it out. So as the viewer, now we need to operate under the assumption that Malcolm Merlyn understands all of the mystical magic because he just knows how magic works. All right, Malcolm Merlyn, he gets it. He has all of the answers. Felicity gets into a hacker battle with the Calculator. Here's my drawing of the Calculator. He's this like old fucking guy. He reveals that he plans to destroy the city using his web nuke. Felicity thinks there's something at Palmer Tech that she could get that could help her defeat the Calculator. So she goes there and she's wheeling around there in Curtis's lab, and Curtis is there and he sees her like maneuvering in this wheelchair with expert ease and finesse, and he's like, where was this energy when you were given that mock presentation earlier today? Oliver has a chat with Thea, and he's like, listen, I don't like that you're dying. Damien Darhk, his magic can save you. So I'm going to make a trade with Darhk. I'll pull out of the mayoral race. I'll do whatever Darhk wants in return for him whammying you again and curing your bloodlust. And Thea is like, Oliver, no. That's not what I want. I choose to not kill people. I know that that is going to lead me to die. I've accepted this. So please, do not do anything with Damien Darhk. I don't want that. Despite Thea expressing that this is not what she wants, Oliver is still planning on going to the meeting with Damien Darhk. So Malcolm stops Oliver and he's like, hey, I was eavesdropping on your conversation. I'm going to repeat everything Thea said, but I'm going to say it and you're going to hear it from me, a man, and now you're going to internalize it, and now you're going to shake my hand and agree that we're going to respect Thea's choices. That's literally what happens. I'm not joking. Thea says, I've accepted my fate. Oliver says, no. Malcolm says, Oliver, Thea has accepted her fate. Oliver says, you know what? You're right. So Oliver doesn't go and make any deal with Damien Darhk. Instead, he goes to take down the calculator. Oliver, the whole team, they suited up, and there's a moment where one person has to stay back and put themselves in a potentially dangerous situation. And Roy is like, Oliver, I'll do it. And Oliver's like, no, you won't do it. I won't let you die. And Roy's like, it's my choice, Oliver. And Oliver's like, yeah, okay, you're right. Roy is fine, by the way. Oliver Queen, supporter of women, tells Roy that he will support whatever Thea wants. And then Roy is like, cool, me too. I also have to leave. I can't stick around here. On the island, Oliver wakes up from his shadow hallucination and he tells Tiana that he killed her brother. Felicity gives the presentation at Palmer Tech about her new battery. It goes well. Everyone in the audience claps. You barely even notice that she's in a wheelchair. This is character development. The calculator is in the audience at this presentation, and he leans over to Oliver and he's like, she's something else, isn't she? And Oliver's like, you have no idea. A plot twist, the calculator is Felicity's father. Malcolm and Oliver are having another chat about how feminism is good sometimes when it works for them. Thea suddenly falls into a coma. Nyssa shows up to the hospital and she pulls Oliver aside and she's like, hello, husband. They're married in the League. Remember that? Remember that happened? I have a magical lotus elixir and it can save Thea, but I will only give it to you, husband, if you kill Malcolm Merlin. End screen. The stats for this episode: the character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 39. The character with the most quips was Felicity. She had 17. The character that I laughed at the most was Malcolm. I laughed at him 7 times. And the character with the most kills was Nyssa. She killed 5 people. Episode 13, Sins of the Father. This episode has an 8.1 rating on IMDb. Nyssa and Oliver have a little back and forth about the killing Malcolm thing. Nyssa can't defeat Malcolm. She's tried to kill him many times. She's not skilled or strong enough to kill him herself, which is why she needs Oliver to do it, because Oliver has beaten Malcolm in the past. Oliver is the only person capable of killing Malcolm Merlin. Besides Damien Darhk, I guess Nyssa Al-Ghul just didn't want to rope Damien into this. All he has to do is kill Malcolm Merlin, and then she will give him the magical lotus elixir title screen. Felicity and her father are having dinner, so all we know about the calculator is that his name is Noah Cutler. He is Felicity's father. He was married to Donna Smoke, and at some point during Felicity's childhood, he abandoned the family, and he's also a criminal. Now, they call Felicity Overwatch during their Team Arrow missions, and Noah tells her that he knows that she's Overwatch, and then he outs himself as the calculator, and he's like, I want to make an effort to come back into your life and be the dad that I should have been all those years ago. The guy that he is working for wanted the web nuke, and he wasn't actually going to destroy the city with it, okay? He was being dramatic. It was part of the bit. Oliver gets the whole team together and explains the Nyssa situation. He says that despite everything Malcolm Merlin has done, he doesn't want to kill him. He can't do it. The main reason that Oliver doesn't want to kill Malcolm, it's not because he doesn't want to kill people. It's because Malcolm is Thea's father, and he fears that if he kills Malcolm, he will take that away from Thea, because he knows what it's like to not have a father, because his father's dead, remember? Even though Malcolm Merlin famously nuked the Glades, he killed Tommy, who was his own son. He drugged Thea into killing Sarah so that he could gaslight Oliver into killing Ra's al Ghul so that he could become the leader of the League of Assassins. Despite all of that, killing Malcolm, not an option. All of the other guys in Team Arrow think that's dumb. They're like, hey, Oliver, listen, morality aside, we're all in favor of killing Malcolm. Now, Nissa's presenting this ultimatum as he has to kill Malcolm in order to get the Lotus, but Oliver is determined to find the secret way that he can resolve the League of Assassins civil war civilly and get the Lotus for Thea without killing Malcolm and still satisfying Nissa in some way so that they're all happy. Basically, Oliver is playing the craziest game of diplomacy ever. Oliver's plan, in his game of 5D diplomacy with multiverse time travel, is for Laura to talk to Nissa and convince Nissa that if Malcolm gives Nissa the League of Assassins, then they won't have to kill him and Oliver can still have the Lotus. Meanwhile, Oliver will be hopping into a different Discord call to chat with Malcolm and try and convince him to give Nissa the League of Assassins. And if all else fails, Oliver will blindside everyone and then create a new timeline in 5D diplomacy with multiverse time travel where Malcolm unhands the League of Assassins and Nissa has it. League of Assassins in hand. On the island, Tiana demands that Oliver explain why he killed Vlad, and he does, and also did not mention this. Oliver was hallucinating Shadow. When he woke up from that hallucination, he has this rock. Okay, it magically appeared in his hand. Love it when that happens. And he has this magic rock, and he shows this magic rock to Tiana. And Tiana gives the rock to Ryder in hopes that she can trade it for her freedom so that she's not stuck inside a cage with the man who killed her brother. Of course, it doesn't work. Oliver's really into this game of 5D diplomacy with multiverse time travel, but Malcolm, he doesn't want to play, okay? He's not having it. He's like, listen... Lotus elixir? That sounds fake. Alright, I'm Malcolm Merlin, magic expert, and I've never heard of a fucking Lotus elixir. That's made up, that's fake, you're lying to me. He refuses to play Nissa's games, and he will not be the victim of a classic Timeline 12 blunder.
Wait, on Timeline 12 you made a blunder.
Nissa, on the other hand, she's down for the deal. Like, if they can somehow convince Malcolm to just give her the League of Assassins and, you know, fuck off, then she's fine with that. Felicity tells Oliver about her dad and how he's the evil calculator, and she's like, darn, I just wish there was a way that I could test him, you know, like to make sure that he had good intentions, right? Like, I wish there was a way. And this gives Oliver an idea. He's like, a test. Oliver convinces Nissa to give him a small sample of the Lotus elixir so that they can prove to Malcolm that it works, so that he will accept the terms of the deal. So Malcolm watches as the Lotus elixir, that's definitely not fucking real, heals Thea. He's like, well, fuck me, dude. Okay, let's pause, because this is where you lose me, alright? Malcolm Merlin, he's Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul has all this information about everything. He knows about magic. He knows about Darhk's idol. He knows about literally everything there is to know. And yet, he didn't know about the Lotus Elixir? The Lotus Elixir that was held by the League's greatest enemy, the Crescent Order, who he's supposed to know about because that's the League's greatest fucking enemy? And you're telling me that Malcolm Merlin didn't know about the Lotus Elixir? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. I'm getting angry. I'm getting really angry. If your mortal enemy has something that can counteract the effects of your magical immortality jacuzzi, how are you not gonna know about that? This is contrived. This is dumb. Felicity talks to her mom. She's like, hey, Dad's back. Thoughts? And Donna's like, people don't change, especially not your fucking father, okay? So don't trust a word out of his mouth. Oliver gathers Nissa and Malcolm together. They are going to make the trade. He's gonna give her his Ra's al Ghul ring. She's gonna give him the magical Lotus elixir. Psych! Malcolm Merlin's not giving her the Ra's al Ghul ring. It was a fake out. He tries to kill her. Oliver goes back to the Arrow Cave after this, and he's like really upset. He's like, I don't understand how Malcolm Merlin values the League of Assassins more than Thea. Oliver, are you fucking stupid? What do you mean you don't understand how Malcolm Merlin values the League of Assassins more than his own daughter? Remember when he drugged Thea into killing Sarah so that he could gaslight you into giving him the keys to the League of Assassins? Remember that? That it shouldn't be a shock to you that Malcolm Merlin is still valuing the League over Thea. He has always valued the League over Thea. This isn't some fucking news, okay? This isn't a new fucking development. On the island, Oliver convinces Tiana that he's not a horrible human being, and now she's on his side again because they have a common enemy, and that enemy is Ryder, and they need to kill him, and, you know, she's kind of over her brother's death anyway. John Diggle comes up to Oliver, and he's like, hey, dude, I think that you should kill Malcolm Merlyn. And Oliver says, nope, he might be the worst guy on the planet. I can't kill him. Sorry, my hands are tied. Felicity invites her father for a tour of Palmer Tech. During the tour of Palmer Tech, her father tried to steal things from her. That was her test, you know, to see if he was gonna steal shit from Palmer Tech, and he failed the test. She's like, I think my mom's right. I think that people don't change. And Oliver is like, I don't believe that. I changed. Malcolm Merlyn can change. I mean, bro, I shook hands with him. We agreed on feminism for 5 minutes, and I believe that that guy that I shook hands with, he's capable of, like, being a good dude. So Oliver chats with his best friend, Malcolm Merlyn. Malcolm explains that the League of Assassins, it's way more than Oliver thinks it is, okay? The League has power and influence, and they have been secretly manipulating global events for history, for the entirety of history. That amount of power cannot fall into the wrong hands. And to Malcolm, the wrong hands is Nissa's, okay? His hands are beautiful. They're wonderful hands, lovely hands. Malcolm has great hands. He's hand model. He basically tells Oliver, what would you do, if Damien Darhk was standing right there? And he had William in the clutches of his magic, and you had to sacrifice Star City in order to save your son. Would you do it? And Oliver's like, no, dude, I would find the secret third way, okay? There has to be a way to have it all. And Malcolm's like, no! There is not! And then Oliver's like, okay, fine, Malcolm, fine. Just go kill Nyssa already. This was all part of Oliver's master diplomacy plan, right? So he gets Nyssa and Malcolm on a rooftop. They're doing their trial by combat. Before they start the fight, Oliver steps in and he's like, wait, I object to this fight. I will fight on behalf of my wife, Nyssa Al-Ghul. This is basically a boss fight, okay? And the guys who were in charge of adding the spark effects to the swords, they knew this was the boss fight because there were so many sparks on those swords. So they fight, and Oliver wins. He's got Malcolm on the ground, on his knees. He's ready to deliver the killing blow. Malcolm's like, do it, pussy. Kill me. Kill me. And then Oliver raises his sword, and he swings down, and he slices right through Malcolm's hand. Yep, his hand rolls right off. His beautiful hands, the hands of a male model. And it's not just any hand, it's the one that had the Ra's al Ghul ring on it. He who has no hand cannot wear the ring. Everyone bows to Nyssa, the new Ra's al Ghul. Thea has been given the Lotus Elixir, and she wakes up and she's fine. Felicity gets into a fight with her father, and she calls the cops on him, and he gets arrested. Nyssa calls Oliver and Malcolm to a meeting, okay, because she has some big news. She's like, guys, it's been fun. I loved playing this game of diplomacy with you. I just disbanded the League of Assassins. The League is no more. Consider them gone. And she dramatically pulls the ring off her finger and throws it into a fire. And Malcolm, like, gasps. He watches in horror as the ring just melts away in front of him, like all of his dreams. Also, he's in a sling at this point, because when Nyssa leaves, Malcolm turns to Oliver. Angry as fuck, okay? This is the angriest bro has ever been. He says, Oliver, death would be a mercy compared to the hell I'm about to rain down on your ass, okay? You crossed the wrong bitch. So they are enemies once more, and that's kind of what happens when you gather your friends and family to play diplomacy. On the island, Ryder announces that they're gonna start digging. Does anyone care? Raise your hand if you care. Oliver and Felicity are both dealing with their dad-related issues, but they both agree that they did the right things. He's just Malcolm Merlyn now. He's not Malcolm Al-Ghul anymore. Remember when I said that Malcolm Merlyn was about to make a classic Timeline 12 blunder? Well, it turns out the only one blundering timeline 12 was Oliver.
No, you didn't. Never mind.
No, you can't call somebody out for a timeline 12 blunder and it not even be true.
Malcolm Merlin meets with Damien Darhk, and he's like, hey, Damien. You know, Oliver Queen, I know the person that he loves the most. It's not Felicity. It's his son, William.
That's classic timeline 12 blunder.
That's going to go down in the books, honestly.
End screen. Stats for this episode. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 65. The character with the most quips was a tie between Felicity and Malcolm. They both made 8. The character that I laughed at the most, are we surprised? It was Malcolm. I laughed at him 13 times. And the character with the most kills was a tie between Malcolm and Nissa. They both killed 3 people. Episode 14, Code of Silence. This episode has a 7.6 rating on IMDb, and it is the 23rd lowest rated episode of all time. Oliver and Ruve Adams, if that really is her name, will be debating soon. The great mayoral debate. Oh my god. I don't know if you could tell, I don't like the mayor plotline. I never like the mayor plotline. I don't care about the Star City politics. And yet, this entire show, pretty much from this point forward, will always have a mayor plotline. Title screen. In the Arrow Cave, the team discuss why they can't find Darhk. Okay, he's gone Dark, and yes, that is how they say it in the show. Oliver assumes that whatever Darhk and Hive's plan is, that it has progressed to a new stage, and that's why Damien Darhk hasn't been active. But they still don't know why being involved with the Star City government is so important to this plan. Ruve and Damien Darhk are in their little underground hive bunker, and they're discussing things. She's like, we need to get Oliver Queen off the board because it's vital to our plan that we have control of Star City's government. Damien could very easily just walk up to Oliver, snap his little fingers and kill him, but that's not how Damien Darhk rolls. Say what you will about Damien Darhk, but he understands his place in the narrative. He understands that he is the big bad villain, and he likes it that way. He is the villain, and he will do villainous things. He will drag this out for the fun of it, because Damien Darhk loves being the villain. That's kind of his downfall, right? Because if Damien Darhk had just listened to Ruve and the rest of Hive and just killed Oliver as soon as they met, we wouldn't have any of the following issues. Malcolm Merlin is now a full member of Hive. At some point, Damien Darhk will give Malcolm Merlin a new prosthetic hand. I don't think he has it in this episode. I never wrote down when he got it. I don't remember. Damien wants to kidnap William. Damien gets on a Zoom call with some of the other Hive members who are questioning him. They're like, hey, why the piss haven't you killed Oliver Queen yet? Damien's like, oh, you're questioning me? Well, I'm just gonna kill you through the Zoom call. Because part of Damien Darhk's evil powers is that if he's been in a room, then he can just visualize the room in his head and then just kill whoever's in the room. So Oliver should be cooked, right? Because all Damien Darhk has to do is wait for him to go to a Big Belly Burger and then just kill him. The Olicity wedding is on. They are planning the wedding. Donna is going a little crazy. She is living vicariously through Oliver and Felicity because their relationship is so wonderful, and she loves love. Alex approaches Oliver, and he's like, hey, I found something sus. This debate's coming up, right? So Ruve Darhk is probably going to be looking into your background and finding things that she can throw at you in the debate to catch you off guard. So I dug into your background, and I found $1 million check written by your mother that was never cashed. Should I be worried about this, Oliver? And Oliver's like, oh, no, that means nothing. On the island, Ryder has like an underground prison holding area, which is where Oliver and Tiana were being kept. And now he has all of the prisoners digging through the wall to get into some mystical cave that is underground. Hive is trying to kill Lance because they know that Lance double-crossed them, so they set him up to, like, get caught in a building when it falls and explodes, but Laurel saves him from that. On the island, the prisoners are digging their hole, right? And Ryder and the other soldiers leave them there. All of the prisoners hate Oliver because he was once one of the soldiers who, like, beat them, so they start, like, trying to kill Oliver, but Tiana steps up and she's like, Oliver may be a bitch and he may have killed my brother, but He is our best shot at defeating Reiter. So the prisoners are like, listen, Oliver, we're willing to, give you the benefit of the doubt if, and only if, you go kill Conklin, because we all hate Conklin more than we hate you. Donna and Lance break up. Lance is like, listen, I've got myself wrapped up in a bunch of dangerous shit. I don't want you to get involved. We have to go on a little break right now. So somehow the team gets a hold of a hard drive from Hive, and it's got nails in it. Lance talks to Oliver, tells him that he just broke up with Donna, and he's like, damn, Oliver, you're so lucky that you have Felicity and that you don't have to lie to her, because, God, keeping all these lies from Donna is what broke our relationship up, so thank God that there is nothing that you are currently hiding from Felicity. You're so lucky. And Oliver's like, yeah. On the island, somehow Oliver and Conklin are left alone in a room together, and Oliver attacks and kills Conklin. In Conklin's dying breaths, he tells Oliver that Reiter is planning on killing everyone. So Thea was talking to Alex, she found out about the Samantha Clayton check, and she confronts Oliver about it, and he admits to Thea that he has a son with Samantha Clayton, and she agrees to keep it a secret. Felicity and Curtis are having a chat, and he mentions that he is working on a super secret engagement gift, and it's gonna be really great, it's gonna be really awesome. Oliver and Lance have another relationship talk, and Oliver kind of convinces himself that it's okay to lie if it's for, like, a good reason. Curtis has cracked the hard drive, and it's got, like, demolition plans for the building that Oliver and Rouvet are about to debate in. They pull the fire alarm at this place, evacuate all of the civilians, and then Team Arrow gets into a boss fight with the demolition guys, who were the villains this week that I never mentioned. After all of the bombs have been disarmed, the debate starts. After the debate, the news reports that Oliver was the clear winner of the debate. Everyone loves mayoral candidate Oliver Queen. He is a shoo-in to win. Donna forgives Lance for lying to her, so if that's your OTP, they're still good. Curtis gives Felicity her engagement gift. What is it? It is an implantable biostimulant that when they implant it in her spine should give her the ability to walk again. So much for, oh, she'll never walk again. Here we go. Implantable biostimulant ex machina. Curtis Holt ex machina. And Oliver, upon hearing that this is a thing that's happening, he's like, Curtis, you're terrific. How terrific. This is so fucking terrific. Damien Darhk introduces his daughter, Nora number 2, to William. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna be hanging out with William for the foreseeable future. End screen. The stats for this episode. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 40. The character with the most quips was Felicity. She had 9. The character I laughed at the most was Oliver. I laughed at him 5 times. And the character with the most kills was a tie between Oliver and Damien. They both killed 1 person. Episode 15. Taken. This episode has an 8.0 rating on IMDb. So they implanted Curtis's magical implantable biostimulant on Felicity, and she tries to walk, but it does not immediately work, and now she's pretty discouraged by this, but Curtis and Paul are like, listen, Rome wasn't built in a day, okay? Give it some time, let it cook in there. On the island, Reiter is having them prisoners dig, okay? Still digging. They are still digging. Felicity and Oliver are back at the Queen Loft. She's really sad because the implantable biostimulant hasn't kicked in yet, because she got it in her head. She's like, I'm gonna be able to walk down the aisle. Like, that's all she wants, is to walk down the aisle, and she's, like, really depressed. But then suddenly, and without warning, Damien Darhk shows up at the Queen Loft, and he's like, Oliver, I've tried being nice to you. I've tried kidnapping your sister, your fiance, and your best friend. I tried getting you into a terrible car wreck. None of it has worked. So this time, I've kidnapped William, and you have to pull out of the mayoral race, or you'll never see his ass ever again. Title screen, Felicity is pissed. She's like, wait, who is William? Your son? You have a son named William that you never told me about. And then she says the exact same thing that she said in the crossover before the timeline was erased. She says that she's not mad that Oliver has a son. She's just mad that he kept him from her. Now the entire team has been brought up to speed on the William situation. Felicity is flabbergasted to find out that Thea, Malcolm, and Barry fucking Allen already knew about William before she did. So now she's even more mad. Samantha Clayton arrives at the campaign office. She's freaking out. She's like, Oliver, some fucking random ass CSI came up to me and told me I needed to come talk to you. My son is missing. I'm confused. What is going on? And Oliver's like, I'm the Green Arrow. So he takes her down into the Arrow Cave and she acquaints herself with every member of Team Arrow. And Samantha Clayton, she's going through it, right? Oliver Queen is the Green Arrow. Laurel Lance, the woman that he was dating at the time of William's conception, is the Black Canary. His sister is Speedy the Red Archer. And his fiance is here hacking at the keys. Laurel and Samantha do talk about the whole cheating situation. Laurel doesn't blame Samantha for that. That's on Oliver. Oliver's like, guys, we need to fight magic with magic, but I can't call John Constantine because he's literally in hell right now. So we need to call in a different magical bestie. And her name is Mari McCabe. She lives in Detroit. And she has this magical totem that gives her animal powers. She is Vixen. Whenever Vixen fights, she doesn't like animorph into these animals. It's more like she just inherits the strength and abilities that these animals have. So when she channels the gorilla, she gets really strong. When she channels the eagle, she can fucking fly. And every time she channels the eagle, you bet your bottom dollar that that eagle screech is playing. The sound effects team loves Vixen, okay? Every animal has a sound effect. We got elephants, jaguars. So the Green Arrow approaches her and is like, hey bestie, can I borrow you for a minute? We have a sitch back in Star City. So they bring Vixen to the Arrow Cave. Turns out Vixen and Black Canary already know each other. Okay, they've met before. And I know what you're thinking, bitch, when? Okay, why didn't you tell me about this? So there's actually an animated webcomic that goes along like a companion series for Arrow, and it focuses on Vixen. In the animated webcomic, she teamed up with Oliver and Laurel, and this is her first live action appearance in this episode. I have not seen the webcomic. I don't know what it's about. I also don't know where I could even watch that because I looked it up. It's not on Netflix. So, Samantha, now even more flabbergasted because you're telling me there's this woman and she can channel animal magic and she's asking to sniff William's Flash action figure. Vixen gets William's scent off of the Flash action figure and then she starts flying around the city trying to track him. Things get really awkward in the Arrow Cave because Oliver wants Felicity to stay in the Arrow Cave with Samantha. Back on the island, the prisoners have finally dug through the wall. The hole is open, they can enter the cavern. Oops, not so fast, because there's a creepy fucking zombie that comes out of this hole. And the zombie is Conklin, and he is speaking in some weird language. Thea, she's connecting some dots here, and she meets with Malcolm the Mystical, and she's like, hey, did you happen to tell Damien Darhk about William? Was that you? And Malcolm's like, Thea, you know I'm not going to answer that question. Thea doesn't want to believe that he did, but like him pleading the fucking fifth on this should have been the first dead giveaway that it was in fact him who sold out William, but Thea's a little stupid in this episode. She's also mad because he chose the League over her, and she like, he's like, no, Thea, you don't get it. I was gonna have both, okay? I was gonna kill Nissa, I was gonna snatch the Lotus and keep the League, but your gay-ass brother stopped that from happening. Listen, you might not see it now, but if the time ever came where the two of us were, I don't know, marooned on the island of Lianyu, it's Mandarin for purgatory, and there was a landmine involved, I would gladly step on it for you. Hypothetically, of course. Oh, sorry. Diggle tells Oliver that the best thing that he can do for William is to keep him close, okay? Because Diggle keeps his family close. That's the only way to protect baby Sarah. So Oliver should do the same. When they find William, Oliver should keep his ass close. Now, Samantha is in the Arrow Cave with Felicity, and she's trying to, like, defend Oliver. She's like, don't get mad at Oliver about this. Keeping William a secret was my idea. They get in a fight with Damien Darhk. It goes nowhere, and Vixen no longer has William's scent. She feels like this failure is on her, and she's like kind of flabbergasted that the team has no intel on the source of Darhk's magic, because all magic has a source, right? Her magic comes from her magical totem, so Darhk probably has a magical totem of his own, and that's when Lance goes, oh, I've actually seen him with like an idol. before. I've actually seen him, like, do dark magic in front of an idol. You think that's important? And so then Lance draws a picture of the idol, and Oliver's like, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute! I think I've seen that same idol on Lee and you. Oliver drops out of the mayoral race in order to save William. Vixen tells the team that Darhk's idol needs to be connected to the ley lines. Ley line, ley line, ley line. That sounds like an ASMR trigger word. If you don't know what a ley line is, Vixen here says it's like Wi-Fi for magic. Now, Samantha's freaking out because Oliver has announced that he's dropped out of the race, but Darhk has still not given them William back. Vixen tells Oliver that the best thing that he can do for William after they find him is keep him as far away from this shit as possible. She goes into her dramatic backstory. She's like, she was adopted, or she was a foster kidder. I don't remember what she said exactly. She said that the best thing that her parents ever did for her was, like, keep her far away from all of their weird shit. They find where Damien Darhk is. He is at the exact same house that he was at before, but we're supposed to believe it's a different house. Now, he's just chilling in this house, and he's got his idol on a table right by an open window, moonlight streaming in. He's just chilling in the living room, doing literally nothing. Vixen drops in the building, fights Damien Darhk, and then she snatches the idol and jumps out the window. And Damien Darhk just stands there for a second and goes, well, that happened. You're telling me that the source of Damien Darhk's power was just sitting on a table, waiting for Vixen to snatch it? No special lock, it wasn't in a safe, it wasn't in a cabinet even, just right out there on the table. Yeah, okay. Well, that happened. Woohoo. Vixen is like desperately trying to smash this idol to pieces while the rest of Team Arrow are killing a bunch of ghosts, and then she does smash the idol to pieces, and Damien Darhk's magic stops working. And he's like, yeah. And then they save William, and the cops show up to arrest Damien Darhk. At the police station, William reveals that he was captured by a man with a missing hand. Thea confronts Malcolm the Maniacal again, and they have a conversation that literally drove me to tears, right? Like, I'm not joking. I know it was you. You took him out of spite. For us. You have to believe me. I did it. For us. Shut up. How could you possibly think that there was an us to protect? You know, sometimes I lay awake at night and I wonder what Robert would think about our relationship. He raised me, he loved me, and I threw that all away the moment I became your daughter. Yes, you did, and it was your choice. You would be dead 10 times over if not for me. You are incapable of seeing the bigger picture, but I can. And I would rather you hate me and be alive than love me and be dead. Oh, the whole you'd be dead 10 times over if not for me? Bold face lie, because if Malcolm had never drugged Thea into killing Sarah so that he could gaslight Oliver into killing Ra's al Ghul so that he could become the head of the League of Assassins, Thea would never have been targeted by Ra's. She would never have been thrown into the Lazarus pit and given pit fever, and then she would have never been caught in the crosshairs of the League civil war. Criminal offensive lie. Also, when he's like, it was your choice to be my daughter. Okay, way to take that whole it was her choice feminism girl boss moment and then just throw it back in her face. Well, wow. Love that. Oliver records a Robert Queen style video for William saying that he is sending him away. He doesn't know where he is. He's the Green Arrow. He told his mom not to show him this video until he's 18. Now, Felicity, she tells Oliver that she understands why he did what he did, why he lied about William. She gets it, but it's still too much for her, okay? She doesn't know how to be in a relationship with him anymore. She wants to call the whole marriage thing off. And then while they're talking about, you know, calling off the marriage, her foot twitches, and she's like, OMG, and then she stands up, and she walks away. End screen. Right. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 71. The character with the most quips was Damien. He had 13. The character I laughed at the most was Malcolm. I laughed at him 9 times. And the characters with the most kills were Oliver and Diggle. They both killed 2 people. Episode 16. Broken Hearts. This episode has a 6.2 rating on IMDb and is the second lowest rated episode of all time. So we're in for a treat. My soul sister, Carrie Cutter, is back, and she is kidnapping lovers, and she's killing them, because, remember, Carrie Cutter was in love with Deadshot for 5 minutes, and then he died, and so now she's all, like, anti-love. She literally says, love is a bullet to the brain, which if you don't remember, Deadshot said that. Deadshot. Floyd Lawton did say that. Title screen, and there's weird goofy music that plays, and the red heart arrow is back. So Damien Darhk been arrested. Now he's in court. This is like the preliminary hearing, I do believe, so this isn't the trial. They're just deciding whether or not Damien Darhk here needs to go to trial. So he's got his lawyer, he's lawyered up, and he is against Laurel Lance, lawyer supreme, of course. Damien Darhk's lawyer is pleading the case that Damien Darhk is not Damien Darhk, okay? This dude is Kenneth Bender, bro. He's a Markovian citizen. He fled Markovia or some shit. And Laurel is like, no, that's Damien Darhk, dude. That guy is evil. Kenneth Bender my ass. And so the judge is like, okay, Laurel, you seem really fed up. You seem really heated about this. I'm going to give you some time to gather your evidence, and then we'll present that, and then we'll decide if we should have a trial from there, right? Info on Markovia. If that name sounds familiar to you, it's because it's a fake country that DC Comics made up, and it appears in a lot of other DC media. In the Arrowverse, the location of Markovia would be somewhere in Russia. We know this because at some point Cisco Ramon has a map that shows Markovia. Now, that's not typically where it is in other DC Comics media. It's typically somewhere around like France, Belgium, that area. So Felicity's moving out of the Queen Loft. Oliver is desperately trying to get her to change her mind. Things are a little awkward because even though Oliver and Felicity have broken up and she wants to move out, she still doesn't want to quit the team. She wants to still be Overwatch. On the island, Oliver, Tiana, and Ryder have entered an underground cavern where the idol sits. Yes, it's the same idol that Damien Darhk has in the present day. I kind of spoiled that already. Oh well, who cares? Ryder shoots one of the other soldiers that he brought down there. When this dude dies, his life force gets sucked into the idol, and Ryder gets powers from that. So Laurel is a little bit stressed, because even though she is Girl Boss Lawyer Supreme, she doesn't have any fucking evidence to work with here. Everything that Damien Darhk is accused of, all the evidence has been destroyed at some point. So Felicity, Thea, and Diggle are like, we could testify. I mean, we were literally kidnapped and put in a gas chamber, and there's 3 of us, and if we all tell the same story, that should go pretty well. And then Laurel's like, yes, Felicity, that's a great idea. You're engaged to the mayor, so this will be really great for our case. And then Felicity is like, oh, well, yeah, see, we're not engaged anymore. Because of that, Felicity and Thea are not going to testify because it's going to look really bad, I guess, because they broke up. Contrived, but okay. Diggle is still holding space for Olicity. He's like, listen, Oliver, she'll come back around, okay? Trust me, I see the way you two are. So Cupid killed that couple. She posed them outside in like a heart shape. She's on her Criminal Minds shit right now. Thea's like, oh my god, that's 2 popular influencers from TikTok that were just killed. And then everyone's like, Thea, how the fuck do you know about all these influencers? And she's like, I'm just a girl after all. Diggle does take a stand and testify at the preliminary hearing, and he's like, yeah, Darhk fucking kidnapped me. I was in a gas chamber. I was fighting for my life, bro. Thank God for Malcolm Merlin, the Green Arrow. And Damien Darhk's lawyer tears this dude apart. He's like, hey, remember when you helped mayoral candidate Oliver Queen's sister buy $74,000 worth of cocaine? Remember when you did that? If you're willing to buy drugs for this man, what else are you willing to do? So this obviously is not looking good in court, and Lance is like, Laurel, I can testify. I've literally been Hive's inside man. I will go on the stand and I will confess to everything that I did. I'll confess to working with him. I'll confess to all this Hive shit, and they'll have to believe me. And Laurel's like, yes, they would have to believe you, but also you're gonna lose your job if you do that. Like, we can't be doing that. You're the police captain. They go after Cupid, and after this fight, it goes nowhere. Of course, she gets away. That's usually what happens. Felicity's kind of on Cupid's side. She's like, yeah, love is fucking dead. I agree. Diggle and Thea pull Oliver aside, and they're like, hey, we can sense the weird tension between you and Felicity. It's not exactly subtle. You need to tell her how you feel. You love this woman, so tell her that, bro. Tell her. On the island, Oliver and Tiana manage to snatch up the idol and run away before Ryder can kill them. So the team finds Cupid's little shrine. Cupid loves a murder board. She made another one. They discover that she's targeting influential couples. And Oliver and Felicity are on her murder board, and Thea's like, well, lucky you guys broke up, right? Or she'd be coming after you. And then Oliver's like, I hear wedding bells, Thea. Me and Felicity are gonna get fake married. Lance testifies in court. He explains that he was working for Darhk. He explains about Hive. He says all of the bad shit he did, about the fire chief dying and all this weird shit. Incriminates the fuck out of himself. Fake wedding. Felicity is wearing her real wedding dress, right? Because, didn't get rid of it yet. They spread the word on gossip sites. They got a real fucking officiant in here. Felicity doesn't want to be there. She does not want to be there. She's like, let's get this over with. I have so many better things to fucking do right now. So it gets to the point where Oliver and Felicity exchange vows, and Oliver says this big heartwarming vow about how he'll always love her, and she brings out the best in him, and they complete each other, blah 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 blah, whatever. And then Carrie Cutter shows up. It's Cupid, stupid. And then she starts, attacking them. Felicity, at some point, ends up, stopping the fight, and she's like, hey, Carrie Cutter, let me talk to you woman to woman. Love isn't dead. Love isn't a bullet to the brain. Love is actually, really great, and, maybe you should think that way too. And this speech really moves Carrie Cutter, and then she's like, oh my god, Felicity, maybe you're right. Maybe love isn't dead. They arrest Carrie Cutter. The judge found Lance's testimony very compelling, so she agrees to bring Damien Darhk to a real trial. Frank number 2 shows up to collect Lance's badge. I want to do a really quick aside, because I just recently remade Arrow Season 1, the video for that, and I discovered that I forgot which Frank was Frank 1, 2, and 3. So Frank Bertinelli is Frank number 1, Frank Pike, the police chief, Frank number 2, and then Frank Chen was Frank number 3, and then there was also a bartender called Frank at one point. That's Frank number 4. Despite Felicity saying all those wonderful things about how love isn't dead, Felicity is still dead, right? She doesn't want to get back together with Oliver. All those things that she said about love being great and wonderful, that doesn't apply to them, okay? And it never will. And then Felicity officially quits Team Arrow. Damien Darhk is put into a prison cell, and as soon as all the guards walk away from him, he pulls a ring out of his mouth and then looks dead straight at the camera and just smirks. End screen. The stats for this episode. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 62. The character with the most quips was Felicity. She had 16. The character I laughed at the most was Oliver. I laughed at him 4 times. And the character with the most kills was Cupid. She killed 2 people. Episode 17. Beacon of Hope. This episode has a 6.6 rating on IMDb and is the 3rd lowest rated episode of all time. Y'all remember Brie Larvin? She's the bee lady. She had the army of killer bees and then she got arrested. She is hacking herself out of jail somehow. Title screen! Thea gets a text from Alex who says that he got a job offer to work for Ruve Darhk, right? Because Oliver's not running for mayor anymore, Alex is out of a job, and Ruve has just offered him one. Thea wants to go to talk to Felicity, and maybe Felicity can get Alex a job at Palmer Tech. At Palmer Tech, Curtis has a terrific sneeze, okay? He's not feeling too great, little under the weather. Felicity is explaining that the board of directors want to sell the implantable biostimulant at a luxury price, a terrific price. And she's not down for that. She wants it to be more accessible. That's not good for the bottom line. Curtis is sent home because of his terrific sneeze. Thea and Donna both show up to Felicity's office. Malcolm shows up to Iron Heights prison to have a talk with Damien Darhk. Damien's like, how the fuck did you get in here? And Malcolm's like, I'm Ra's al Ghul. And Damien's like, no, you're not. Damien calls Malcolm underhanded, and then Malcolm is like, yeah, well, Hive doesn't want to break you out, so you're stuck in here. I'm your only hope, so you should probably be nice to me, bitch. So Damien's mad at Malcolm, and he tries to magic him, but obviously the magic doesn't work because his idol is gone and broken. And Malcolm laughs at him, and he's like, don't worry. Performance issues are common for men of your age. Felicity is running late for her board meeting, as usual. Felicity Smoke, not a very good CEO. I'll say it. Brie Larvin rolls up to Palmer Tech with her army of bees. She wants the implantable biostimulant. There is currently only one implantable biostimulant, and it's inside Felicity. Bree takes the entire boardroom hostage, and thank God Felicity's running late, right? Because she's not there. Curtis, who is being fed soup by his husband, is watching the news, and he sees that Palmer Tech is currently being swarmed by robot bees, and he's like, oh my fucking God, Felicity's in there. I have to help her. So Curtis gets up off his ass and runs out of there, sneezing all the way, and Paul is like, where the fuck are you going? So the girls, Thea, Donna, and Felicity, are trapped in Palmer Tech, and they are running away from these bees. Curtis arrives at the abandoned campaign office. He's using a phone that he helped track down Damien Darhk in that other episode, and he reverse engineered it to ping him to the Arrow cave. He goes down there, he sees Team Arrow, masks off, and he's like, oh, and then he passes out. In jail, Damien Darhk gets attacked by Michael Murmurs. Curtis wakes up in the Arrow cave feeling rejuvenated because they gave him an IV, and then he goes and points at everyone. He's like, wait, you're the Black Canary. Oh my God, you're the Green Arrow. And he's like, I don't know who the fuck you are. And he's pointing at Diggle. Diggle's like, oh my God, it looks like we have a taller, more dude-like version of Felicity. That's a direct quote. Curtis convinces them to let him help them with the bees. On the island, Ryder is attacking Oliver and Tiana. Who cares? Curtis hacks the bees. The girlies at Palmer Tech manage to make a getaway. The bees get unhacked, and then they're still stuck in the Palmer Tech building. Felicity has to big brain this shit. She's like, wait, the old Arrow cave is still underneath Palmer Tech. So her plan is to blast a hole through the wall in the conference room, take the conference room guys down into the Arrow cave, and then they'll go out the secret exit so that Bree can't attack them. Felicity has a confrontation with Bree where Bree reveals that the reason she wants the spinal implant is because she has some kind of tumor that will, fuck up her legs too, so she wants the implant. In jail, turns out Damien Darhk just blackmailed Michael Murmurs, and now Michael Murmurs is working for Damien Darhk. Curtis makes a hacker arrow that when they shoot it at the bees, it'll disable them, so there's a big bee boss fight, and Felicity ends up electrocuting all of the bees with a lamp. Oliver tells Curtis that he did a really good job on that little mission, and he is welcome anytime he wants to come back to the Arrow Cave. Curtis goes home to his husband, and he's like, Paul, I'm sorry I ran away. I don't know what overtook me. I'm never doing that again. Felicity tells Thea that while she really misses being on Team Arrow, she doesn't want to join back up because she wants to focus all of her time and energy into making Palmer Tech a beacon of hope for people. Malcolm Merlin meets with Andrew Diggle, and he's like, hey, you want to help me bust Damien Darhk out of prison? End screen. So the stats for this episode, the character with the most dramatic pauses was Curtis. He had 31. The character with the most quips was also Curtis. He had 14. And the character that I laughed at the most was Malcolm. I laughed at him 5 times. The character with the most kills was Michael Murmurs. He killed 2 people. Guys, this is it. These are the final episodes, okay? Shit is about to happen. I got my girl dinner here. This is cold rice with yummy sauce. We're gonna need it. Episode 18, 11:59. This episode has a 7.3 rating on IMDb, and it is the 14th lowest rated episode of all time. It's been 2 days since Malcolm Merlin asked Andy Diggle to help bust Damien Darhk out of jail. Andy comes up to his brother, and he's like, yo, John, Malcolm Merlin wants me to bust Damien Darhk out of jail. What should I do? So the team is conflicted about this. Diggle trusts his brother. He's like, I think Andy could be our new inside man. He could give us intel the way Lance did before. The rest of the team, they're not as comfortable with the idea of Andy helping them because remember, Andy used to work for Hive. Andy was indoctrinated by Damien Darhk. They also have Damien Darhk's idol in the Arrow Cave. They reassembled it, and Oliver finally reveals to everyone that he saw that idol before on the island of Leanne Hewitt's Mandarin for Purgatory. Ruve Adams is the mayor now. You know what's crazy is, even though Oliver wasn't running, there was still a lot of write-in ballots for him. So I think it was 43% or something write-in ballots for Oliver Queen. Ruve Adams, she is giving her mayoral acceptance speech, and she says that it's time to make Star City great again. And that is exactly how she said it. I'm not doing a bit. That's exactly how she said it. Rouvet offers Laurel Lance a job as the DA. On the island, Oliver and Tiana prepare themselves to kill all of Ryder's men. While Oliver and Diggle are out on a side quest from Andy, Laurel and Thea are alone in the Arrow Cave when, suddenly, and without warning, Malcolm Merlyn shows up. He wants Darhk's idol. If I can't get a clip, this is the best description I can give, right? So Malcolm and Thea, they're fighting. At some point, Malcolm literally kicks Thea square in the face. She falls to the ground, and then she starts doing the coffee grinder dance move on the ground, and somehow, without even touching Malcolm, he, like, gets hit, and then he does, like, a tornado spin, and he falls to the ground. Anyway, Malcolm wins the fight, he steals the idol, and escapes the Arrow Cave. Title screen, Oliver suspects that Andy set them up, okay? How convenient that the Green Arrow and Spartan, yes, they're calling Diggle Spartan, I don't know if I ever mentioned that, but how convenient that the Green Arrow and Spartan were not in the Arrow Cave when Malcolm the Maniacal showed up to attack. Makes you wonder if somebody was a rat. Now, Oliver tells this to Laurel, and Laurel is like, you need to be 100% certain that Andy is a rat before you bring this up to John, because that will not be good for the bromance, okay? Felicity's already gone. We can't afford to lose Diggle too. Laurel talks to Quentin, tells him about her new DA job offer, and her dad is like, that's great, sweetie, but also, if you do take the job as the DA, you will have to give up being the Black Canary, because the DA has 24/7 security, because the political leaders in this town, they're constantly getting killed, so the DA has, like, a patrol. The team gets some more new intel from Andrew Diggle. He says he has eyes on Merlyn. Even though Oliver doesn't trust this bitch, he suits up with Diggle and Laurel, and they go scope out this Malcolm Merlyn thing. When they get to the location, something goes awry, and Andy and Oliver end up split off in their own little area, and Andy jumps in front of an arrow to save Oliver. At Iron Heights, Damien Darhk makes a joke about Malcolm Merlyn missing a hand, and then he's like, you're a dumb bitch, Malcolm. The idol is missing a piece. The deal that Malcolm and Damien have is that Malcolm and Thea will be spared from Genesis as long as Malcolm works for Damien. So Diggle confides in Andy that there's a piece of the idol missing, and he hid it himself. He is the only one who knows where that shit could possibly be. And Oliver hears Diggle saying this, and he's like, hey, maybe we shouldn't talk about this in front of Andy, the R-A-T. Diggle's pissed. He's like, Oliver, why don't you trust Andy? Andy literally jumped in front of an arrow for you. Come on, dude. How much more heroic does bro have to be? On the island, Oliver and Tiana have started freeing the prisoners, and they plan to use a bunch of C4 to trap Ryder underground. Oliver goes full Batman, okay? He rolls up to the Diggle house, and he attacks Andy. And then Diggle shows up and pulls a gun on Oliver. He's like, stay the fuck away from my brother, you freak. And Oliver's like, I don't trust him. And you shouldn't either. He's got you wrapped around his finger, John. In the Arrow Cave, Diggle and Oliver continue their little fight. And Diggle drops a bar. So what, Oliver? Just because Felicity left you, I'm supposed to believe that no one is capable of redemption? Not all men are like you, Oliver. Some of us change. Some of us grow. Some of us evolve. You're stuck, man, stuck in your self-pity and your self-righteousness, and that is why Felicity left you. Dig. Oliver attempts to convince Laurel to take the DA job. Laurel Lance, Lawyer Supreme. Girl dinner for Laurel Lance, am I right? Darhk and Michael Murmurs start a prison riot. So the vigilantes bust into Iron Heights, and I'm gonna need you to strap in. If you don't know what's about to happen, this is going to be like a thing. Get your girl dinners ready. Everyone is there. All the vigilantes. They brought Andy. The Diggle brothers start shooting at some inmates, and then Laurel and Thea duke it out with Michael Murmurs. Oliver runs straight at Damien Darhk. Malcolm is also there, and he gets into another fight with Thea. He says that she will never be able to defeat him because she lost her drive to kill. When did she have that, though? Turns out Andy was a traitor. He gives Damien Darhk the last piece of the idol because he knew where Diggle put it. Because he's a crafty little guy, that Andy Diggle. So Damien Darhk is like powering back up. Once he gets his powers back, this fight is over. Okay, he knocks everyone down, he freezes everyone with his magical powers, and he does this big, evil, dramatic villain monologue where he's like, I know who all of you are. I know you're Oliver Queen, I know you're Thea Queen, I know you're Laurel Lance, I know you're John fucking Diggle, I know all of you bitches, and I've known for a hot minute. Then he struts on up to Laurel, and he says, hey, I want you to deliver a message to your father for me. And he grabs one of Oliver's arrows and he stabs her in the fucking chest with it. Yeah, so Oliver rushes the Black Canary to the fucking hospital and they start operating on her immediately, like crazy amounts of emergency surgery are happening. It's not looking good for Girl Boss Lawyer Supreme Laurel Lance, I'll say it. On the island, Oliver and Tiana make some promises to each other. He says that if he doesn't make it, she should go find Laurel Lance and tell her what happened to him. And if Tiana doesn't make it, Oliver will go to Russia and find Tiana's parents and tell them what happened to her and Vlad. Meanwhile, Ryder kills the rest of his men. He powers up using their deaths as power. Lance punched Frank number 2 as a distraction so that the vigilantes could get into Iron Heights prison and have that boss fight with Damien Darhk. So he's being held at the police station when he hears that Damien Darhk injured the Black Canary real fucking bad. And he's like, oh, you have to let me out of here. Laurel survives surgery number 1, and the whole team is there. Felicity even showed up. They all stand around Laurel in her hospital bed, and they each say that they love her. And I didn't cry until Diggle said it. Oliver and Laurel are alone together, and she tells him that she's really happy that he found Felicity and that he has like this wonderful relationship with her, but she will always love him. He will always be the man that she loves, even though she knows that he doesn't love her like that, you know, but it's cool and cute. And then she makes him promise her something. Laurel starts seizing, okay, major seizure, and the doctor comes in and announces her time of death is 11:59. Yeah, rip. Get your girl dinners out for Laurel Lance. So everyone is crying, and again, I didn't start crying until Diggle did. I don't know what it is about John Diggle getting emotional that makes me emotional, because like, I knew this was gonna happen. This isn't the first time I've watched this show. I knew this was gonna happen. I was prepared. I was ready. Laurel Lance, Girl Boss Supreme. And that's the end screen. So the stats for this episode. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 40. The character with the most quips was Malcolm. He had 7. Malcolm was also the character I laughed at the most. I laughed at him 7 times. And the character with the most kills was Oliver. He killed 6 people. Episode 19, Canary Cry. This episode has a 6.7 rating on IMDb, and it is the 4th lowest rated episode of all time. This episode is essentially the we're gonna mope around and remember Laurel Lance episode. Not much action that happens. It's a lot of like, I blame myself for her death. My fault. No, it's my fault. They're doing flashbacks to Tommy Merlin's funeral interspersed through this whole thing, where we see Laurel and Oliver and how they kind of like deal with things after that. In the present, Lance is in the hospital looking at his daughter's dead body, and everybody else in the team is just kind of like solemnly standing out in the hallway. Someone dressed exactly like the Black Canary is out on the streets stopping arms deals, I guess. Title screen, Lance shows them the headline about the Black Canary running around on the street, and he's like, that's Laurel, right? Like, she's back from the dead. And they're like, no, Quentin, Laurel's not coming back, okay? You will never see Laurel or anyone who looks exactly like Laurel ever again. It's all over. The team discovers that Laurel's belongings have been stolen from the hospital, along with the sonic device. This imposter Black Canary attacks Alex while he's out on a date with Thea. Oliver chases her through an alleyway, and she says that he failed them. In the Arrow Cave, Felicity, who's back now, officially back on the team, she's Googling away, trying to find out who this imposter Canary could be. They assume it's Evelyn Sharp, a girl whose parents died in Hive's gas chambers, and that's why she's so mad at the Green Arrow. Lance, he says, I invoke Lazarus Pit, and he calls Nyssa up, and she's like, ooh, I'm so sorry, but, I destroyed the Lazarus Pit. Diggle is on a warpath, okay? Andy's a traitor, Laurel is dead, his life is a fucking mess crumbling around him, so he's on a warpath, he's headed straight for Rouve Dark. And then Oliver shows up and stops him, and he's like, I can't do this anymore, Oliver! And Oliver's like, listen, Diggle, inspiring speech. We don't kill people. Relax. Ruve then goes on TV and tells the citizens of Star City that she was attacked by these violent vigilantes, and the first one they should be concerned with taking down is that rotten bitch Black Canary, who's out here causing havoc. And everyone in Team Arrow is pissed off because, like, that's not the Black Canary, okay? Laurel is the Black Canary. Laurel's reputation is being tarnished by this bitch Evelyn Sharp, and they're all mad about it. They want to stop her so that they can preserve Laurel's memory. Oliver convinces Evelyn Sharp to stop cosplaying as a Black Canary and to not kill Ruve Darhk. Oliver's giving the eulogy at Laurel's funeral, and he's like, Laurel confided in me something very secret, and I think that the world needs to know this. Laurel Lance was the Black Canary, okay? And she was a hero, and her reputation is not to be tarnished. So now the entire population of the world knows that Laurel Lance was the Black Canary. Hey, Oliver, was that the best idea? Was that really the best idea? Because, like, it's only a matter of time before everyone connects the dots that you're the Green Arrow. So now we're back to the grave scene from the very start of the season. Barry Allen's there. It was Laurel all along. Oliver is like crying over her headstone, and it reads, "Rest in peace, Dinah Laurel Lance, the Black Canary." And then he gets in the car with Felicity, and Felicity tells him he needs to go kill that motherfucker, Damien Darhk. End screen. The stats for this episode: the character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 69. Nice. The character with the most quips was a tie between Oliver and Felicity. They both had 3. And the character I laughed at the most was a tie between Oliver and Diggle. I laughed at them once each. And the character with the most kills was Evelyn. She killed 2 people. Episode 20, Genesis. This episode has a 7.3 rating on IMDb, and it is the 13th lowest rated episode of all time. Damien Darhk rolls up back to Hive with his new posse, which includes Malcolm Merlin, Michael Murmurs, and Andy Diggle. They start cleaning house. He kills all of them bitches who didn't come save him. So the Hive guys' burgers and fries, dead. The vigilantes obviously discover these 2 dead Hive members' bodies. Oliver's like, things are about to go down. I can feel it in my bones. I need to take a trip to Hub City to chat with a contact that John Constantine told me to go meet with. And Felicity's like, cool, I'm coming with you. Thea tells Oliver that her and Alex are going to be going away for a weekend getaway. Lila is currently in an Argus safe house. The safe house is in a tractor trailer. So Diggle rolls up, he chats with his wife. She's like, go get me some diapers. While out diaper shopping, Diggle gets a tip on where Andy is. So he goes there with no backup and starts a fight with Andy Diggle. Title screen! Now, Diggle is in the middle of a fucking shootout with his brother, and he calls Lila, and he's like, I need backup right now. I'm in the thick of it. Send me backup. And she's like, stand down, Johnny. Get the hell out of there. But he does not. In Hub City, Oliver and Felicity arrive at a High Rollers casino. And if you remember from the lore, Felicity, she's a card counter. Mama's gonna make some money tonight. Thea and Alex, they're on their romantic getaway. She's kind of foggy when she wakes up. She doesn't remember getting there. She doesn't know where they are. She's like, oh, I guess this is a vacation. The person that Oliver and Felicity are meeting with is this woman called Fortuna, and she was just sitting at the blackjack table. Diggle falls into a trap, and now Andy has him tied up in a warehouse or some shit, and he starts torturing him. Andy says that Damien Darhk is his savior, and Hive is his family. Miss Fortuna takes... I should probably move. She's down here. Miss Fortuna takes Oliver and Felicity to a place of nexus, and this is like an underground fuck-ass chamber, and Oliver's like, hey, this looks exactly like the nexus chamber from the island of Leanne Hewitt's Mandarin for Purgatory, and she's like, hey, what do you know? Fortuna explains that Star City also has a fancy nexus chamber in it, which is probably the reason why Damien Darhk and Hive even rolled up there in the first place. She also says that Damien Darhk's magic is powered by death and fear, and Oliver needs to combat death and fear with love and light. Yes! Alex and Thea are walking around what I can only describe as suburbia. Like, it's giving housing plan. It's like perfectly manicured lawns, HOA, all the houses look exactly the same. There's nobody on the streets, by the way. Not a soul, it's just them. And Thea is like freaking out because she thinks this place is weird. Like, it sounds weird. The bird sounds are kind of skeeving her out a little bit. And Alex is like, relax. Why don't we turn on the radio? Would you prefer M or F? Diggle manages to escape Andy. Fortuna blasts Oliver with a tiny dose of Darhk's evil magic, and Oliver is not able to resist it. He does a terrible job because Oliver Queen, he's got some inner demons, and those inner demons, not good for love and light. They don't really help the love and light situation. So Fortuna is like, Oliver, you're cooked. I can't help you, alright? You are not the man to defeat Damien Darhk. Thea's having a total crash out in suburbia, right? She's like, Alex, the birds are on a loop. Tweet, tweet, bark. Tweet, tweet, bark. It happens over and over again. Where are we? And then she, like, sees Alex take these pills and, OMG, they're the hive pills. They're the susceptible to suggestion hive pills. And she's like, where'd you get those? He's like, Rouvet gave them to me. She's like, I need to take my vitamins. And then Thea's like, did you drug me? Did you fucking drug me? And he's like, no, dude, I would never. Like, why would you say that? I'm a chill guy. I wouldn't. Oliver is moping around. He's like, Felicity, Fortuna's right, okay? I am not gonna be able to win. We're cooked. And Felicity's like, I don't believe that, Oliver. I know that you have love and light inside of you. While Andy was torturing Diggle, he put a tracker on him. And now Damien Darhk knows the location of Lila's tractor-trailer safe tractor-trailer. Damien Darhk knows the location of Lila's tractor-trailer safe house. So battle ensues. Diggle gets into a motorcycle chase. And you'll never guess how this motorcycle chase ends, right? It ends with Felicity driving a van into Andy Diggle. Okay, video's over. We're done. Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. Felicity takes baby Sarah from Diggle, and then she gets the hell out of there. Diggle corners Andy, and Andy starts, like, messing with him. He's like, you're a pussy. You won't kill me. I'll come for your family. I'm gonna get you. I'm so bad. And then while he's, like, calling Diggle all these names and saying how he's gonna kill his family, Diggle grabs a gun and he shoots him. Darhk is in the tractor trailer and he attempts to pull something out of Lila's arm. Oliver shows up and Damien tries to magic him, but he is able to use the power of love and light to resist Darhk's evil magic. After the fight is over, Diggle tells Oliver that he killed Andy to protect his family. Lila wakes up from her little nappity nap and she discovers that Damien Darhk took it, okay? What is it? The thing that was in her arm. What is the thing that was in her arm? Well, it's this little doodad called Rubicon. It's a device that contains all of the nuclear codes from every country in the world. And if it falls into the wrong hands, it can very easily be reverse engineered to launch all of the fucking nukes in the world. The team puts together that Damien Darhk is about to destroy the whole world, and then we see Thea running around in suburbia, and she hits into a Hunger Games style arena wall, and then they zoom out, and we see that the fucking Genesis is suburbia, and it's underground underneath Star City in a weather dome. End screen. The stats for this episode. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Diggle. He had 35. The character with the most quips was Felicity. She had 11. And the character I laughed at the most was Oliver. I laughed at him 3 times. The character with the most kills was Damien Darhk. He killed 3 people. Episode 21, Monument Point. This episode has a 7.1 rating on IMDb, and it is the 7th lowest rated episode of all time. Basically, the team has 21 hours to stop nuclear Armageddon. I fear this is exactly how the 100 starts, okay? There's no stopping nuclear Armageddon. Get in your fucking spaceship, bro. Get in your spaceship and fly to the Ark. The team decides that their best shot at living is by finding the calculator and making him hack Rubicon. Malcolm explains to Thea that Damien Darhk is gonna nuke the whole world, and the only place that will be safe is right here in suburbia. Danny Brickwell is now also working for Darhk. Remember Danny Brickwell, the guy that Diggle shot point blank range in the head, but the bullet bounced off somehow? Danny Brickwell, he's working for Darhk now. Damien Darhk wants Brickwell and Murmurs to go find the calculator because he also needs the calculator so that he can, arm Rubicon and hack into it and make it nuke the nukes, right? He can't do that without the calculator. Lonnie Machen is back, and he is in suburbia, and he's here to fuck some shit up. Yes! Title screen! On the island, Oliver and Tiana are attempting to get all of the prisoners to safety on the plane. Mr. Dennis comes up to Felicity, and he's like, hey, bestie, you're kind of not doing a great job as CEO right now. The board's kind of mad at you about, the whole making the spinal implant an accessible thing and not a luxury item. The board kind of wants that to be a luxury item. So, we're gonna have this really important board meeting, and you need to be there. Okay? But Felicity blows off this very important board meeting to have a conversation with her mother about where Noah Cutler could possibly be. And Donna's like, well, he's probably in the cabin in the woods, the same cabin that we conceived you in. Crazy story, you want to hear about it? Diggle told Lila that when he killed Andy, it was self-defense, but it wasn't self-defense. And Oliver is like, hey, maybe you should stop lying to your wife, Diggle. Hey, how about that? The calculator gets attacked by Brick and Murmurs, but fortunately Green Arrow and Spartan show up and save him, and they bring him back to the Arrow Cave. Noah Cutler, the calculator, he's like, hey, I would love to stop Armageddon. I don't really want to die. I like the world. The world's cool. So I'm down to help you, but I need a special processor. Fortunately, Felicity's got one of those in Curtis's lab at Palmer Tech. Felicity goes to Palmer Tech to get this quantum processor. Mr. Dennis is like, Felicity, you've been fired. And he escorts her off the premises before she can grab the quantum processor. Thea attempts to convince Alex that he's been brainwashed and that suburbia is actually not good and that Damien Darhk is actually very bad. Very bad. And then Malcolm comes in and he's like, Thea, we have a problem. Your psycho ex-boyfriend is back, and he's gonna blow the whole fucking place to bits, and we're all gonna die unless you help me kill that motherfucker. Alex calls the compound that they're in, suburbia, he calls it the Ark. Right. Hey, so it's time for a Palmer Tech heist, because they gotta steal the processor. But why? Honestly, why? Okay, Felicity could just call Curtis because the processor is in Curtis's fucking lab. So if you just, hey Curtis, can you come get me this processor? I need it to save the world. I think Curtis would just fucking give it to you, okay? I don't think he would ask too many follow-up questions, gonna be honest. So this whole heist is fucking pointless. It's like that time that they needed to take Ray Palmer's jet when Malcolm Merlin had a perfectly good one. They're doing it again. Hey Curtis, hey, can I please have the quantum processor? Oh sure, Felicity, anything for you. Like, it's that fucking simple, but no, we got a heist. Heist time. Whatever, the heist is kind of a flop because Noah Cutler has this like scanner that can copy things, and he only copies it like 80% of the way. So they have 80% of the quantum processor, which is probably not gonna be good enough to hack Rubicon, but they have to try, right? Here's the deal. I've been kind of skipping over the island shit because it's all dumb. Tiana has the idol. She is carrying it this whole time. Ryder killed some people, and he absorbed their power. Ryder is super powered, and he attacks Oliver. Thea confronts Lonnie Machen, okay? She's not dressed in her speedy outfit, so he doesn't immediately recognize her, but she's like, hey, bestie, I'm the one who fucked your face up. And he's like, mommy? He literally calls Thea mommy. I'm not joking. Direct quote. He's like, mommy? What are you doing down here? And I'm gonna tell you this right now. The only thing that I remembered from season 4 before I got into this is that Lonnie Machen called Thea mommy. That's the only thing I remembered. I'm sorry. It's the only memorable thing that happened. They don't catch Lonnie Machen. He gets away. The team is at a server farm doing some high-octane hacking, all right? Love a good hack, right? Shit's so impressive to watch when they just at the keyboard and we don't know what's going on. Love that. Hive knows where they are, and then Argus is also there, and Lila is like helping protect them, and she says this, which is like the most superhero movie TV show quote ever. Just like buckle in. She's like, the president called, and he asked me if the fate of the world rested in the hands of an IT girl, a criminal, and 2 guys in Halloween costumes. And then Oliver, of course, replies, they're not costumes. On the island, Oliver shoots like a gazillion bullets into Ryder, and then they run off with the idol together. They being Oliver and Tiana. Machen finds Thea again, and he's like, hey, mommy. He's like, Thea, why are you always at the mercy of some guy? Why are you always a pawn in some guy's game of chess when you're literally a queen, babes? And, he raises a good fucking point. Why is that? Why is it that Thea has 0% agency in anything that happens in the show? Why is that? That's probably why I find her scenes to be incredibly infuriating, because anytime she makes a choice, it gets retroactively changed by whatever man is in the room. Listen, here's my hot take. This show would have been so much better if Thea went bad. Like, if Thea went full evil. I think that could have been a really interesting direction to go in here. But no! Like, if she had gone full fucking Psycho Merlin vibes, then I think it would have been a more interesting show, but whatever. Anyway, she gets into a fight with Machen. He says, "I'm liberating you, mommy," and then he kills Alex. The hackers manage to save the day and stop Rubicon for now. Yay! All the nukes are back in where they belong. Oop, except for one. There's one nuke that launched, so it's headed straight for a place called Monument Point. And this place is like a really populated area. There's like hundreds of thousands of people that live at Monument Point. So if the nuke hits, all of them, they'll all die if the nuke hits, right? So Felicity has her Clark Griffin genocide moment where she redirects the nuke to hit a different place called Haven Rock. And it still kills tens of thousands of people, but it's significantly less people that died there as opposed to the amount of people who would have died at Monument Point. So, trolley problem. Oliver and Diggle discover that the place of Nexus is actually like right underneath City Hall, which is why Damien Darhk needed to be mayor so bad, so he could get into City Hall. Like, bro could have just walked in there. Bro could have just walked into City Hall. Darhk is down there in his evil Nexus chamber, and he's currently powering up at his idol, using all of the deaths from the people at Haven Rock to power him. End screen. The stats for this episode: the character with the most dramatic pauses was Donna, she had 27. The character with the most quips was Felicity, she had 15. And the character that I laughed at the most was Malcolm, I laughed at him 3 times. Truly, whoever is responsible for Haven Rock is probably the one that killed the most people, so if we're gonna give that to Felicity, or probably Damien, like, I don't know. Sorry, Felicity. You killed thousands, tens of thousands of people. That's not cool. Episode 22. Lost in the Sauce. Lost in the Flood. This episode has a 7.0 rating on IMDb, and it is the 6th lowest rated episode of all time. Damien Darhk has just powered up using all of the tens of thousands of deaths from the Haven Rock nuke. He could kill Oliver and Diggle right now, but he doesn't, okay? Because this would be way more fun if he just saved them for later. Title screen: Malcolm finds Thea in suburbia. She's crying over Alex's corpse. Then Malcolm's like, "Thea, I'm putting you in timeout. I'm sorry, you're going to timeout now." Curtis arrives at the Queen Loft. He meets Felicity's evil dad. She brings him up to speed on the whole world-ending apocalypse thing. They need Curtis to help them do some hacking for this episode. Damien Darhk has a hacker of his own. Remember Cooper? Cooper! Felicity's ex, who faked his death and then worked for the NSA and then became the evil brother eye guy. Yeah. He's working for Darhk now. Felicity is able to get Thea's location, so Oliver and Diggle suit up to go find that bitch. On the island, Oliver and Tiana are making their getaway. Tiana gets shot in the chest with like 4 bullets, but they don't affect her because she is now feeling the magical effects of the idol that she's been carrying around this entire time, and her eyes start glowing yellow. So Malcolm has Thea tied up in one of the houses in suburbia, and he's like, "Hey, daughter dearest, are you gonna play nice now? Are you gonna stop trying to run away? Are you gonna stop?" And she's like, "No, I'll never stop fighting." And he's like, "Well, you give me no choice. I have to drug you. My hand is tied." Oliver and Diggle arrive at the entrance to suburbia. Ruve and Malcolm are walking around suburbia together, and she lays into him. She's like, "So why are you such an incompetent bitch? Why is Lonnie Machen still running around? Why is your daughter being an asshole? Why are you useless?" And he's like, they hear news that the vigilantes have arrived on the compound. So Ruve is like, "Malcolm, this is your last fucking straw. You deal with these damn vigilantes or I will be dealing with you." Oliver and the Diggle. Oliver and Diggle get into the heart of suburbia, and Diggle's like, "Whoa, this reminds me of Mount Weather." And I'm like, Huh? Mount Weather? You don't say. Wait, where have I heard that before? Donna has arrived and she is not happy to see her ex-husband. Felicity explains to her that she is working with the Green Arrow. The world is about to fucking end. So they gotta deal with Noah because he's the only hope. He is their only hope right now. Oliver attempts to free Thea, but she has been brainwashed with the evil drug. Oliver's mad at Malcolm. He's like, you drugged my sister again? And then Malcolm's like, tee-hee, what are you gonna do? We both know you're not gonna kill me. On the island, Tiana is now fueled by like the powers of the idol, whatever, and she's got a new purpose. She wants to go back to her homeland and kill some bitch named Kovar. And Oliver's like, okay, great, yeah, we'll do that. But for now, like, we should probably focus on Ryder. We're hacking again. Cooper has successfully hacked into Rubicon and he'll have control of it again in 5 minutes. So the hacker team, Curtis, Felicity, and Noah Cutler have to out-hack Cooper. So there's a big fucking hacker battle. Wow, I love a good hacker battle. Intense hacking intensifies. There's sparks flying out of the computer. The electricity. You know how it is when you hack things. Shit starts blowing up. You press the wrong button on your computer and it's game over, bitch. The whole thing explodes. We all know this. The hacker trifecta manages to shut Rubicon down. In the celebration, Felicity finally calls Noah dad. And this pisses Donna off a little bit. She's like, that man is not your fucking dad. That man's a... Donna tells Felicity the real truth, okay? Noah didn't abandon them. She lied. Donna abandoned Noah. Donna scooped up little Felicity in the dead of night and they ran away from him, okay? And Felicity's kind of okay with this information. She's like, yeah, that's cool and chill. You did what you had to do, Mom. Okay, no hard feelings. But honestly, that kind of pissed me off because like, oh yeah, no, it's actually the woman who was wrong, okay? The women are the bitches and the men are like they're so good. Like,
I love men, said the writers of the show. Men are so great. We need to be platforming men's stories. We need to make men look like this. There's just so much information about men. And like, also, put men on a pedestal.
Because no one else is doing that. Anyway, back in suburbia, Oliver and Diggle get into another fight with Thea and Malcolm. Oliver manages to like get inside Thea's head and snap her out of her trance, and then she turns on Malcolm. She says, drug me again and I'll kill you, you son of a bitch. Thea, what do you mean, drug me again and I'll kill you? Hey, this isn't baseball. This isn't 3 strikes and you're out, okay? Malcolm shouldn't have drugged you even once. Thea's fucking standards are on the floor. Drug me once, shame on you. Drug me twice, shame on me. Drug me 3 times, I'll pop a cap in your ass. Lonnie Machin is still fucking around in suburbia and he makes a trickster-esque live stream where he's like, I'm gonna kill Ruve and Nora number 2 and I'm gonna blow up the entire compound. Come at me, Damien! During the attempted rescue of Ruve and Nora number 2, they blow the whole fucking place up. Machin kills Ruve. Hate to see it, another powerful woman, dead. Her last dying breaths are a plea to Oliver to save her daughter, so of course Oliver has to go save Nora number 2. Machin calls Thea mommy twice, and then the team evacuates suburbia before the whole thing blows up. When Damien Darhk hears that suburbia has been blown up, along with his wife and his daughter, he's like in a really bad headspace now and he wants to kill everyone. He wants to blow up the entire world. Donna asks Noah to leave for good because she knows he hasn't changed and she doesn't want Felicity to get her hopes up. Damien Darhk shows up to the Queen loft and he's like, hey Felicity, I want you to help me blow up the whole world. End screen. Stats for this episode. The character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 30. The character with the most quips was Felicity. She had 12. The character I laughed at the most was a tie between Thea and Malcolm. I laughed at them both 3 times. And the character with the most kills was Oliver. He killed 8 people. Oh, should I try to do dramatic lighting for this? I don't know what this looks like. We're just gonna have to hope and pray that it looks good because I'm not about to check. Episode 23. Schism. This episode has a 5.6 rating on IMDb, and it is the lowest rated episode of all time. Let's fucking go, guys. Big fight breaks out at the Queen loft. Curtis tries to jump in front of Felicity and save her. Damien Darhk is about to kill everyone when Thea shows up and she has Nora number 2 and she gives Damien his daughter back and he leaves. Title screen. On the island, Ryder explains that Tiana is going mad with power because she doesn't have the special runes that Oliver has. And Ryder also has some special magical bullshit. Tiana wasn't blessed by John Constantine, so she doesn't have magical immunity, so she's gonna go mad with power. Damien Darhk has a laptop that contains the codes that will relaunch Rubicon. Felicity tracks down the laptop and the team goes there to get it. When they get there, all of the missiles launch. Every nuke in the world has just fucking launched, bro. On the island, Tiana and Ryder get into a magical boss fight, and Ryder dies. Lance is about to leave town with Donna because Felicity wants them to be somewhere safe. Felicity manages to hack back into Rubicon, but the ghosts show up. Ooh. And there's a crazy fight in the Arrow Cave. During this fight, everyone is involved. Everyone is there. Everyone is hitting someone with something. The fight destroys the entire Arrow Cave, like that weird, stupid ring light that was hanging above everyone falls down, and there's smoke everywhere. The place is fucking trashed. Tiana on the island has gone fully crazy, and she snaps out of her crazy for a minute and pleads with Oliver to kill her before she kills everyone. Back in Star City, Oliver has lost all hope, but thank God Curtis is here, because he gives Oliver an inspiring speech. He's like, Oliver, the Green Arrow, when you made your broadcast as the Green Arrow at the start of the season, that made me feel hopeful. The streets of Star City are crazy. There is fire and shit, and everyone is freaking out. It's literally the end times, so I don't blame them. Oliver, as Oliver, runs out into the street, stands on top of a taxi, and gets everyone's attention. He's like, everybody listen up! We survived the undertaking! We survived the siege! We survived the outbreak! And we will survive this too! You just gotta believe it! Star City is a city of survivors! Oh my god, this speech works. Oh my god, everyone is so moved. They're like, yes, we are survivors. We can defeat the nuclear bombs. Right. The missile is on the way. It's en route. And when Curtis sees this, he's like, that's terrific. And Malcolm's like, bro, you hit your head harder than we all thought. It's terrific because if Curtis and Felicity can get close enough to the nuke, they can blast it with a Bluetooth nuke disabling device. And then the nuke will, like, turn around and fuck off and fly into space. So they stand on a rooftop with this fuck-ass Bluetooth nuke speaker, and then they play JoJo Siwa's Karma really loud, and the nuke gets all mad, and it turns around and it flies away. The day is saved. So Oliver kills Tiana on the island. Diggle confesses to Lila that he didn't kill Andy in self-defense. He just did it because Andy was a bitch. She doesn't fucking care because Lila Michaels is becoming Amanda Waller, and we all know how Amanda Waller is. Here it comes, guys. Here comes, guys. The final epic the final epic boss battle of the season. Oliver, dressed as the Green Arrow, confronts Damien Darhk in the streets of Star City. It's nighttime. It's dramatic. They both monologue at each other a little bit. Damien's like, you might have stopped my nukes, but you can't stop me. He tries to magic Oliver, but the magic doesn't work, even though he's been supercharged with the deaths of tens of thousands of people from Haven Rock. The magic doesn't work on Oliver. Why? Because the people of Star City have rallied behind him. They've got their pitchforks and their torches, and they say, boo, Damien Darhk! Get out of my city! We stand with the Green Arrow. And they start throwing shit at Damien Darhk. And with the power of the people of Star City, Oliver Queen is strong enough, he's filled with enough love and light to deflect all of Damien Darhk's evil powers. So they have no choice but to fight like regular men, like civilized people. And then the big street fight breaks out, all of the ghosts versus all of the citizens of Star City. In order for the hackers to officially stop the nukes, they have to go after Cooper, because Cooper is still doing some, like, evil hacking, and he's, like, being held against his will in front of the keyboard, like, forced to hack, or Damien Darhk will kill him. So Felicity convinces him that he shouldn't bring on nuclear Armageddon. And then he's like, you're right, Felicity. And he stops hacking. And then Damien Darhk can sense this. And he's like, what a pussy. And then he kills Cooper. The fight rages on. At some point, Quentin Lance shows back up. Bro was supposed to be out of the city, but he was just so moved by Oliver's moving taxi speech that he came back. He helps Oliver in the fight. And then Oliver and Damien get into their epic final hand-to-hand boss battle. And Oliver stabs Damien with an arrow the exact same way that Damien killed Laurel. And honestly, that in itself, kind of, I kind of get it. I see the vision, but like everything surrounding that moment, is just fucking crazy. The next day, the aftermath. Everyone's hanging around in the Arrow Cave. Lance has been suspended. He's no longer the chief of police, so he wants to, go somewhere else, retire, swing a couple of golf balls. Thea also wants to leave. She's like, Oliver, this fucking city brings out the worst in me. I'm a little freak. I'm a freaky little freak. I gotta go somewhere else and, find somewhere that can match my freak. And then there were 3 left in the Arrow Cave. The original Team Arrow, Oliver, Felicity, and John. But John also wants to leave. He's had enough of this shit. On the island, Ryder's dead, Tyenna's dead, Amanda Waller shows up. She collects the idol. She's like, hey, Oliver, you're really cool. Do you want to work for me at Argus? And he's like, respectfully, no. I actually have some unfinished business in Russia. Oliver and Felicity are at Laurel's grave, and Oliver's kind of mopey because he thinks that everyone is leaving the team because of his demons. He's like, I am so broken, and I'm breaking the people around me, and they can all feel that. I'm like a big negative presence. And Felicity's like, no, Oliver, you're not the negative presence. Darhk was the negative presence. And it's good that you killed him in cold blood. She says in cold blood. Cold blood? Hang on, correct me if I'm wrong, but killing somebody in cold blood means that you killed that motherfucker for no reason. They were defenseless. They were docile. Damien Darhk was not defenseless, nor was he docile. In fact, Damien Darhk initiated the fucking battle. So Oliver didn't kill him in cold blood. Felicity, are you a stupid bitch? Yes! Oliver gets a phone call from one of the councilmen, and this dude is like, hey, Oliver, I have some really good news. You want to be mayor? Oliver's the mayor now. Diggle is going back to the army. The Arrow Cave is in shambles. Oliver and Felicity are standing in the Arrow Cave. They're looking at the fucking shelves with all of their old friends' costumes on it. Felicity's like, I'm never gonna leave you, Oliver. It's us against the world. End screen. So the stats for this episode, the character with the most dramatic pauses was Oliver. He had 73. The character with the most quips was Damien. He had 9. The character I laughed at the most was Oliver. I laughed at him 5 times. And the character with the most kills was Ryder. He killed an entire plane full of people. Looks like you made it to the end of the video. I'm so proud of you. It's time for the prestigious Girl Boss and Favorite Character Awards. I'm gonna be really honest with you, it was hard for me to pick. Not because there were just too many good options to choose from, but because everything sucked really bad. As far as the Girl Boss Award go, I considered giving it to Malcolm again because I always default to Malcolm as my favorite character and the biggest girl boss, but Malcolm literally lost the League of Assassins and he got his hand cut off, and that's not very girl boss. And then I thought, okay, Damien Darhk, alright, he was really evil, he did a lot of evil shit, but then also he got bested by the power of love and light in the streets. So that's not very girl boss. And then I thought, okay, Oliver, he beat Damien Darhk with the power of love and light. There's truly nothing more girl boss than that. And that's true. That's an incredibly girl boss thing to do. However, the Girl Boss Award is purely based on vibes mostly, and the vibes of mayoral candidate completely cancel out the vibes of love and light defeating Damien Darhk in the street taxi speech. So Oliver is not the girl boss. And what about Felicity? Okay, computer girl boss Felicity Smoke. She's pretty girl boss. She really didn't do that much this season. She lost custody of Palmer Tech. Curtis was doing more shit at Palmer Tech than Felicity was. Anytime there was something that needed hacked, Felicity was just handing it off to Curtis. I decided that in the end, the girl boss this season is Laurel Lance Lawyer Supreme. Because 2 reasons. The Black Canary is my favorite DC hero, period, ever. So that gives her an immediate 5 million extra girl boss points in my book. In general, the Black Canary outfit is a very girl boss thing to be wearing. She did the most girl boss thing she could possibly do this season, and that is die. Alright? She felt the vibes of the show, the vibes were rancid, and she wanted to get out. And honestly, slay. Laurel Lance just has like default girl boss vibes. Like whenever you think of like the ironic, like, haha, she's so girl boss XD, it's Laurel Lance. So, like, I had to give it to her. Now, my favorite character this season is Curtis Holt. And if you had asked me who my favorite character in season 4 was, like, a few years ago, I would have said anyone but Curtis. I used to hate Curtis. I used to think that he was annoying. I didn't like that he was just there for comic relief. I was like, why do we need Curtis? We already have Felicity. I felt like Curtis was unnecessary. But during this latest rewatch, and now that I'm really sitting with this media and like actually processing it as an adult, I love Curtis. Curtis truly was the love and light of this season. And honestly, I love him for that. And I'm really excited for the next couple of seasons because Curtis just becomes a more and more important character. He's terrific. Like, what can I say? I want to take a second to talk about why I personally dislike season 4. I'm not like super into the fandom. I wasn't on the forums back in the day when the show was actually coming out. Like, I don't know what the popular opinions are. I don't know what the community really feels about this. All I know is that I felt like season 4 was really anticlimactic. Don't get me wrong, Damien Darhk, killer villain. Like, he's really good. He's funny. He's sarcastic. He has this dry humor. He's just comically evil in the best possible way, and I love that. And a character like Damien Darhk can work really well in the Arrowverse, and he does, spoiler alert, he does come back in future seasons of other Arrowverse shows, and he works really well in those other shows. He just didn't work well in Arrow. The main issue is that he's so comically evil that he just decided it would be more fun to not kill Oliver, and then he gave Oliver the chance to like power up the city with love and light and then kill him. The final episode really sucked. Okay, that fucking 5 rating on IMDb, that's generous. You're telling me that the climax of season 4 revolves around Felicity Smoke's ex-boyfriend killing himself? Climax of this season revolves around Oliver Queen standing on a taxi and giving a inspiring speech to the city, and then they throw tin cans at Damien Darhk, and that's how he's defeated with the power of love and light? Laurel didn't die for this. I think that also another problem is just magic in general doesn't fit well in Arrow, because Oliver Queen notoriously has no powers, right? That's kind of the whole point of the Green Arrow. Damien Darhk is the most overpowered magical being that we've ever encountered so far in the Arrowverse. To have the one superhero who has 0 fucking powers and nobody else on the team has any powers either, to have these people be the one that go against Damien Darhk, it's not balanced. There's no fathomable way for Oliver Queen to win. It doesn't feel justified or earned when Oliver does end up killing Damien Darhk. I think that it's fun to have magic in the Arrowverse. I just don't think that they went about establishing it the right way in Arrow season 4. Also, the island sequences this season were particularly fucking boring in my opinion. I hated them. Every time they would pop up on the screen, I would be like, I wish I could skip this. But I can't because I know some bitch is about to do a dramatic pause and I have to put a tally mark on my tally sheet. I sat through every second of that shit for them damn tally marks. And you better check the link in the description to the Google Doc to look at all my fucking tally marks. They could have completely redid the island in a way where Darhk's idol wasn't the main focus over there, because we as the audience, we don't really need all this extra backstory about Darhk's idol. What could have been more interesting, they could have made it more about Oliver being a snake and a spy and getting good at espionage and shit like that. Oliver, in the present, he was making some pretty interesting power moves and power plays and stuff, and I think that showing him in the past on the island, like, becoming a leader, rallying a group of people around him to, like, take down a mild oppressor would have been more interesting than Oliver and Tiana fucking around with an idol, shooting each other, and nobody dies for 10 episodes in a row. I think that it could have been way more interesting if they just took the magic off of Lian-Yu. John Constantine didn't need to be in the flashbacks. He could have just popped up in Star City. They could have found a way to, like, rope him in. Perhaps Malcolm Merlin knows about John Constantine, and that's how Oliver comes to find him, and that's how they save Sarah. They could have introduced John Constantine in any other context. He didn't need to be on the island. The individual episodes weren't bad. Like, there were some banger episodes in here. There were some good ones. Like, the 5D diplomacy Lucy episode. That was good. Like, I really liked that episode. But then you have, like, the dumbass fucking episodes, like the Brie Larvin Beacon of Hope episode, and the episode where they do nothing but sit around and mope about Laurel. Like, there was a better way to introduce Evelyn Sharp, okay? There was a better way to do that. Like, how bad do you think this season is? Do you think the ending was as anticlimactic as I thought it was? Do you think that it's actually better than everyone says that it is? I know a lot of people really like season 5. I don't know why, but we're gonna save all season 5 related opinions for the season 5 video. Okay, forget I said that, scratch that, reverse it. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that fun jazz. If you want more videos like this, I'm your girl, okay? I'm gonna make more. I have no intent on stopping. Making Legends of Tomorrow season 1 is up next on my list, so subscribe to get notified when that comes out in a couple of months, probably. I basically forgot the entire plot of Legends, so I'm really excited to see how it is, because I forgot. I'm not making any money, I don't have any sponsors, I'm just a girl in my room making murder boards because I like to do it. I think this is fun, and if you think this is fun, please subscribe. You'll notice I got a new microphone, okay, so if I get enough subscribers, I have a number in my head. If I get that number of subscribers, I'm gonna get a better camera, and then the video will be better for everyone, okay? So do your part. If you've been dying to talk to your friends about Arrow Season 4, but they don't want to watch the whole thing, they just want like a quick little recap, hey, send them this video. I did you a solid. If you want more of me outside of this context, I recently created a second channel. It's linked in the description. It's called Writing with Jay. I'm an aspiring author. I'm kind of like making these little writing logs about my story that I've been working on. I've actually been writing this novel for like a year now, about the same time I started working on my Arrow Season 2 videos. It's crazy that I've been making these videos for over a year and I haven't gotten bored yet. That's honestly impressive. Like, round of applause for me. There is behind the scenes videos from this video on the Writing with Jay channel, so if you're curious about how I actually make the murder board, you can see that in the behind the scenes video. Thank you for watching, and remember that you, yes you, are my best bestie, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!